Okay, today is February 16th, 6 p.m., Board of Health meeting. Time is 6:06. Board of Health meeting opens. I apologize for the delay. Marissa, if you could take off.
Nicole Duffy,
Here.
Anthony Postoli,
Yeah.
Daniel Grabowski,
Yeah.
Paige Sitka, Jasmine Canonas.
Here. Agenda item number 3, accept the meeting minutes. Has everyone gotten a chance to read the revised minutes?
I read them, I just had to wrong.
Okay. Tony, yeah. Oh, that's right. Abstained. Okay, we'll take a roll call for that.
Full motion.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
A second?
You?
A second?
Okay. Paige Sitka,
Yes.
Dan Grabowski.
Yes.
Nicole Duffy.
Yes.
Jasmine Canonas,
Yes.
and Anthony Postoli. Thank you.
Okay. Citizens forum, is there anyone present that wishes to discuss something that's not on the agenda this evening? See if anybody slips on in. Nope, I guess that it. Okay, next. Agenda item number 5, COVID update. Got, everybody's got the handouts?
Yep.
We saw the new cases reported on here too, huh? 104.
So yes, disease rates have decreased, as you know. Community transmission is down, which is all good. So may I just share with the board members the latest statement from the regional epidemiologist, Brianna Burnham, that compiles all this data. So this was an email that was sent to me on the 1st of February to Daniel. Attached are the updated COVID-19 and vaccine reports. We have had some new cases. At that point, before she compiled this, she used the last month's comparison. We had 90 reported cases this year, this is COVID, compared to 1,424 last year during January.
Oh my God.
Last week, we only had 6 reported cases, which was the lowest I've seen, although that doesn't take into account at-home tests. Those are,
Well, yeah,
right,
yeah.
so we have to understand
Just
that.
reported, yeah.
And those are still popular. Additionally, we have had 26 reported flu cases in January, compared to 208 cases in December 22, so a significant decline. I'm sure numbers will continue to fluctuate, but overall, not a bad start to the year, that's for sure. So, very positive in her assessment.
Good summer.
Yes, and you can see, I mean, there's some peaks and valleys here, some troughs with the numbers, but in comparison to previous, this is very good to see.
Does anyone have any questions?
No.
Okay. Move on. Agenda item number 6, old business. Blight update?
Nothing new.
Nothing new?
Nothing new. I think most of the complaints are centered around mixed rubbish and accumulations of rubbish, particularly in yard areas of dwellings, multi-units and single families. That continues to be ongoing, but nothing of significance, what I mean is orders to correct are issued, and the compliance rates have been very good, I would say. So a good response from the public, the individuals being cited. That's all really I have in regards to that. In conjunction with some mattresses, as I know that's a time, but nothing overloading the department or causing a lot of grief to us.
But those have been dealt with, I take it.
They have, yeah, we rely on the public to inform us. We also do see some during our inspections, regular inspections of other matters, and we have our team on it, which is myself, Emily, and Hector predominantly, and we take the initiative and do inspections and do the enforcement, and compliance along with the other mixed rubbish has been good. I think there's still a need for information to be sent out to the public to inform them that the mattresses will no longer be taken back, except for Casella. So there is a ban on them. This is what I've heard from team members, that in discussion with individuals that put them out, they just were not aware of it still.
That's what they were saying, that they weren't aware.
Yeah.
I just have one
Oh,
question.
go ahead.
But the mattresses haven't been picked up, then, right? People are actually complying with having them picked up somehow? So
Yes.
the mattresses that you see now are new ones?
Yes,
As compared to the old ones?
yes. And they put them out for the intention for
Right.
bulk pickup. And when they're ordered, they'll take the initiative, they, meaning the people that obviously get cited, and, get them off the public way, the street, the sidewalk, backyard, call 1-800-CASELLA and await for that process to take place. But it was very evident that initially, and still to this day, there is a certain amount where individuals are putting it and commingling it, the mattresses, box springs, with the bulk. Okay? Or just resting them against telephone poles, and
Yeah.
again, assuming that it'll be taken back in that process. So,
Right.
there is, I would say, there's still a little bit of need for education and outreach in respect to that, to getting the word out. But I think we've done very well with that. We'll still continue, and again, I think the reaction by the public to correct has been very favorable.
So then, is there, I'm on our site right now, is there a way people can look into this? I know I keep on harping on our website, but wouldn't that be one place where we could put this information?
Yes.
Does it already exist?
We do have it, it's been there
it
since the
does.
beginning of
But does
November.
it stand out somewhere? Is it somewhere where
Yeah.
you can,
It
So
should be
you can go
fairly
into-
prominent. Again, this is,
Oh, wow.
we're using every
Departments.
avenue to,
There's a
again,
trash
get the message.
recycling.
oh, okay, all right, so it's not under the health
And
department?
it's been an
Trash is-
undertaking.
Correct.
But you
Yeah.
could go to our department
And then
and
scroll
get
down.
flyers out. We
There it is.
posted as much information as we
There's a
could,
flyer,
social media.
there's a flyer at the library too. It's-
Yeah, sure,
it's
sure.
out there.
And getting, again, the word out, this is a statewide ban, it's just not Southbridge, so.
Yeah, that's important now.
and-
too.
but that's fine, and
Basis
then,
and just scrolling, kind of like, you know how.
not to say
You
that
can also put
there's,
it on.
there's overall bad intention, but there's some people
You
that's,
know, like me, I'm an idiot. So
right?
that's
We
why-
can take that
Right, well, yeah, I don't
as
know.
it comes,
And if I
but
have
we
to
are
fish
getting
for it,
out
then
there,
I'm just-
and
You're gonna give up?
Yeah, I'm just like
Okay.
that, you know.
All right.
we're on
Make
it.
a note to.
We're on it.
Yeah,
We're on
if we can, even if it's just for a month,
You
just,
got it.
you know,
So you have anything else to add to that?
No, thanks.
Okay,
that's good.
thank you. Okay, all right, agenda item number 6B, the ongoing discussion on community mental health needs. I can just start by making mention, the presentation at the library went really, really well. We had about 23 people that showed up, that was basically giving information about assistance with housing and a lot of questions. It went really well,
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I mean, literally, there were like no chairs left.
yeah.
It's like I had to grab
Yeah.
one from another room.
That's
So it
great.
went really well, and we plan on probably doing like another one. you know,
Yeah, different workshops,
Yeah, we-
different things.
Make connections with a couple other local, I know.
That's
from-
wonderful.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, so we plan on doing another one and kind of sharing the word with that.
Can I comment?
Jasmine, do you have anything to, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that unfortunately that hasn't made it to cable yet.
Oh,
And
no.
I was actually emailing Margaret this afternoon. For some reason, she can't find the video she took.
Huh?
Oh,
kind of in limbo.
no.
I know that Jeff did it, so.
Yeah.
Hi, yeah, we're right there, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're right there.
Huh, wonder if we can look into that.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. You didn't get the chance to talk to Jeff or anything, did you? No.
An extra one.
All right, I'll reach out to
Don't worry,
both
you
of
can
them.
use that.
Thank you, thanks for letting me know that. Next, we're all excited about that.
Pretty. And it's green.
Now you got more pens than you need, but if you want that one out.
Anybody else have?
Sharpie. All right, wait a minute.
That's what I want that back though.
I know, everybody's getting their pens back.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything to add? No?
That's great.
Okay. Yes.
Madam Chair, I just want to point out you have a public hearing scheduled for 6:05.
That is, my apologies, I completely missed that, and we did start late. Public hearing for the 41 Stony Brook Drive, request for trash toter fee waiver. Before we start that, Rita, do we have any luck with checking with Casella on that, or no?
We did not, we, both, Dan and I spoke with Hector, who is our curbside enforcement officer. He went up Stony Brook Drive, around Hilltop, searching for that trash serial
Okay.
number and nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, thanks for trying.
And I did notify the property owner that we would have a public hearing, the continuation of the public hearing tonight. Unfortunately, I don't see him, so
Okay.
whatever the board decides, we'll let him know.
He said he wasn't gonna show up.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he said he was,
He said he wasn't, couldn't make the meeting.
So we'll let him know what the board decides tonight.
right.
Okay.
So that's the next thing. So does anyone have any thoughts or opinions on that?
I just
As far
have
as the totem?
one opinion. He waited 2 years to report this missing. You know what I mean?
Good point.
I mean, when something is missing, I mean, the way I look at it, he had no use for it. Now he has use for it, so he wants to get, you know, the $50 waiver. I mean, that's, you know, I don't wanna waive the fee. He waited 2 years for that. It's only $50, I know, but still, you can't, you know, he doesn't wanna pay it. Didn't make any attempt to find it. And he said last meeting, he's not gonna come to this meeting because he doesn't have the time. So for someone that doesn't wanna pay a $50 fee, it's obvious. I don't wanna wait this. Just the idea of 2-year wait. Now he wants to look for it, and he said it's the Board of Health's responsibility to find it. If I lost something, I'm not gonna go to the Board of Health and say, can you find my trash can? And not to mention, like Dan said, I mean, there's a big issue in town not enforcing the fees. I would say he would have to pay the $50, that's my opinion. I would have to make him pay.
Dave?
I
So
would
I-
agree too, also it sets precedent, so then we'd have other people with the same scenario, and it would, that's just not, that we're not, $50 so many times will become,
Got
a problem,
yeah.
Gotcha.
so, that's my thoughts.
Any thoughts?
Is that a
In
motion?
line?
Yeah.
Alrighty. You want to make a motion?
I make a motion not to waive the $50 fee.
Anybody want to second that?
I'll second.
We'll get,
Jasmine
contact him.
Canona, second. Roll call. Anthony Postali.
Yes.
Paige Stutzka.
Yes.
Jasmine Canonas.
Yes.
Nicole Duffy.
Yes.
Dan Grabowski.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 7, discuss the permit for tobacco product and nicotine delivery
We're
services.
gonna close it at 6:20. Sorry.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Agenda item number 7, to discuss the permit for tobacco product and nicotine delivery devices that was issued in error. 11 Pleasant Street, to determine to approve or not. Look at that. So it came to my attention that that a smoking lounge was going to be created.
Excuse me, can you just speak loud because I can't hear back here.
Sure.
There's no microphone, there's no.
Yeah, that's okay. So it came to my attention that there was going to be a smoking lounge in Southbridge. And I asked about it and found out that there was a process. So the correct procedure really didn't happen just because this is a new use. There are no smoking lounges in Southbridge. So it's an error in the sense of that, you know, we needed to know about this and speak of it and vote if necessary. So this is what we're going to talk about at this point, if anybody has any.
So,
Yes.
so the topic currently on the table is the improper issuance, or was this improperly issued? First off, is that the issue that we want to discuss, or are we saying that this should not have been allowed, like we shouldn't, are we voting on whether or not to allow, or are we even past that? I just want a little
Yeah.
clarity on.
At this point in time, we're discussing to vote whether or not, if we even want to vote on whether this is going to be, this is going to go,
If
yeah.
this stands,
Right.
so, all right, so it's whether or not, so Dan, you issued a,
We're gonna decide whether we're gonna approve it or not.
okay, approve the actual lounge itself.
Well, we're gonna approve that permit or not,
Okay,
that or not.
Excuse me,
That's the
Okay.
first, yes,
sorry for interrupting.
yep, that's okay.
The permit is already issued. Where you see the arrow in your bylaw in town of Southbridge? Can you show me where the arrow on the town bylaw, please? Where do you see it? The town bylaw, where the arrow in Southbridge, it's illegal or it's not allowed bar? I mean, is that the case? Close the Redmond, close the Eagle, close all of this. Where is in the bylaw, in your paper, saying the bar is not allowed to have license to sell tobacco?
Well, the reason, the thing is that it pretty much goes together in the sense of the next thing to discuss is basically if we want to amend the current regulations on smoking bars, which kind of goes hand in hand with that. So
You
that's,
say you wanna see if you approve the permit, what the
Mhm.
permit already is an issue to him, and now
Right.
you say you wanna see if you wanna approve it. I don't know where you're gonna approve what's already given, and where in your bylaw in the town of Southbridge saying it's illegal to have smoking tobacco in the bar.
right, we don't have those bylaws for the smoking
So
lounge
you
right now.
can't, you can't
And that's-
discuss his permit, you wanna discuss something in the future, I agree with you, I respect your decision either
Mhm.
or, but at that moment, right now, you say to see if you can approve his permit, what is already an issue, and nowhere in the bylaw say he cannot have it.
Right, but the
And-
thing is that it really shouldn't have been issued without,
That's your opinion.
without Daniel discussing this
That's your
first.
opinion. If that's the case, why you change the bylaw, why you don't change the bylaw a long time
Well,
ago?
that's what's on the table now.
So you can talk
that's
about the
right.
bylaw to be changed
Right, and
in
we're
the
all,
future, but meantime, you can't approve his permit because it's already approved and he have it. So you're confusing either me or I don't understand. You say the agenda here to speak, if you can, or you guys wanna approve his permit, what if you have no authority for that right now?
right. Well,
Already-
it all kind of goes together.
Not
and that's-
necessarily, no, you're talking about a new bylaw now. You're talking about different, because it's not an our bylaw. I'm sorry, it's not an our bylaw.
Right,
So-
we're not
so-
on that one.
so let's, I mean, I hear what you're saying exactly, but let's flip it. Was Dan in his right to issue this permit? And if he was, then it's a moot point. But if he wasn't, then it goes to the table whether or not that issuance now should be validated and it should be brought back to the table. So I think we're arguing kind of something that, you know, unless you see it a little differently, I just think, you know, I know that you've sought legal advice. However, to me, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, we're talking in circles right now.
One kind of goes with the other, and that's why it's difficult.
It does,
That's
it
why it's
does.
difficult, yeah.
Can I have a chance to speak? And I, with all respect, Chair, I completely disagree with this premise, that it was issued in error, and there was erroneous actions, particularly by me. Now, I really don't think this argument has no merit. I just want to underscore the importance of being aligned with the regulations, okay? And to set a new precedence like this is a level of malfeasance. That's my input. As you can see, we have in the town of Southbridge, the regulations restricting youth access to tobacco and nicotine delivery devices. These are local regulations that were implemented 2016 by previous members. Pursuant to this regulation and Section 9, smoking in public places, there is no prohibition of smoking bars, hookah bars, or anything in that nature. Simply, the only ones that were identified were, no person shall smoke, use e-cigarettes or nicotine delivery devices in any municipal athletic park, including municipal playgrounds. No person shall smoke, use e-cigarettes or any other nicotine delivery device within 15 feet of any municipal playground or any other playground within a municipal park. Lastly, no person shall smoke in an area within 15 feet of an entranceway of any space designated by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 27, Section 22, smoking in public places. Okay, that distance away. Okay, so there is nothing concrete or written in these that would prohibit the issuance of a permit to sell tobacco. And I think we have issued 30 to 40 permits in this town, which we have valid permit holders of tobacco that can sell tobacco products. Okay? Now, with that said, this is what it is. And everything else has to follow the minimum standards by the state. So if the town of Southbridge wants to be more restrictive, then the state, which allows smoking in public places and allows smoking bars, hookah bars, etc., are allowable by state regulations. The town, any town, has the option to become more stringent than that and enact laws. So in comparison to the last two locations which I worked at and enforced regulations, particularly Northampton, Massachusetts, and where I came from, Montague. Now, they also erected their own regulations prohibiting smoking in workplace and public places, same. And they outline in their sections what is not allowable, okay? And smoking is prohibited. And for instance, I'll use the comparison to City of Northampton. Smoking prohibited pursuant to Massachusetts general laws. Smoking is hereby prohibited in smoking bars, retail tobacco stores, 25 feet, municipal-owned parks, etc., municipal-owned athletic fields, membership associations, private clubs. They enacted these terms in this law, and even if you are a private bar, okay, it's still not allowed. In comparison to Montague, and this is why they don't have anybody or have had anybody subsequent to the enactment of these regulations come in and ask to open up a smoking bar, a hookah lounge, because it was already instituted in their local laws. And while I was there, both municipalities, people came to me quite often, every year, a handful every year. Daniel, can we open up a smoking bar, a hookah lounge? And I would say no. And they would say, well, why? It's allowed by state, some other municipalities from where my area is. Springfield, Holyoke allows them. Why aren't you not allowing them there? And I would just reflect to the laws here. It was not my decision. It was the previous board members. It's been voted on. It's the regulation. And again, referring to Montague, smoking is hereby prohibited in, first one, smoking bars. And then everything following, nursing homes, retail tobacco stores, 20 feet. So this gave the power to the Board of Health to make that decision without a discussion in front of the board, because it had already previously been instituted and it was still legal. Here in Southbridge, just let me reiterate, there is nothing of that. There's no provision, there's no section here stating that smoking bars, hookah bars, are outlawed. And it is what it is. And I have to follow the local ordinance, the local law, in conjunction with state law. So with that said, I am in firm belief that what I did was justified, legal, and appropriate. And I am very adamant that there was no error on my part, because I've been doing this for many years and I have a lot of experience in this. And I think overall, if you assume, Chair, that I did this, I think overall you need to better educate yourself on regulations pertaining to tobacco. And I know they can be complicated, and I know they can be subjective at times, but really when you come down to it, it is what it is. And these are the examples which I am sharing with everyone. And if Southbridge did make a choice to ban this, should be in writing, it should be very transparent for regulations, for regulatory bodies as the health department and the public to know this. And it's not. So that permit that was given with my signature is legal. And you may not like it, but just because feelings are facts, just because you don't like something or feel it's wrong, however you feel tobacco is, it's allowed. You can't just villainize tobacco, okay? And smoking in places. I mean, we right now, as being new to town, there are certain places, which I've never been to, but the Redmond Club and Eagles, you guys know, they're smoking in there. Why? Because it's not in our local market, okay? If it's similar to what Northampton did. Regardless, if you're a private company, you still can't smoke. It's outlawed. That doesn't matter. You can't use that avenue. Here, it's much different. And that is allowed by regulations set forth in the state. And I believe that, again, just to reiterate, the issuance of this license is valid. I'll end that there.
Thank you. So, we get the license from the town of Southwick to sell the tobacco. We filed to the state, and the state came and inspected and gave us the approval too. So, to smoke in the bar actually is approval by the state, not by the town.
Well, actually, the board actually has the right to amend any regulations. And that's pretty much what's on the table at this point.
You have a right to amend if anything wrong, like you say, is an error, but there's no error here. Everything is by law, by the book. So you can't just revoke somebody's license because you feel like we don't want no more smoking tobacco, or you don't want this place to have it, or this person, or you have to have a reasonable concern to revoke the license. Thank you.
Yes. No, we definitely do have a reasonable concern. Just the fact that the Tobacco Alliance was just on us not too long ago, just basically about the flavored tobacco and when they did inspections, when they did checks and things like that. So that was just on the table, and that was a long issue in itself. Just the health factor in itself.
But the state approved already and give us all the license, so
Right.
that's another argument you're
Right.
gonna have.
Oh, no, and I
with the
hear what you're
state,
saying,
not only-
but the fact of the matter is that the board reserves the right to change the regulations if we so choose. And that's what's on the
You can
table.
change it after, but that would be grandfather. You can't just revoke my license and say, now I'm gonna change the rule and I'm gonna let you follow what I say. No, this is already given, so it's a grandfather.
I actually did check into that, and actually, let me see what she said. She said that the fact that a permit was issued for one prior to the new regulation does not mean that the smoking bars can exist. A permit is a privilege, not a right, and all establishments are required to comply with current regulations. This is settled law.
What are you reading there? What,
That was from the Mass Board.
the state, not the town?
The
But
Mass
state
Board.
already inspect and give the license, so the state already approved it. So that's not a town law, bylaw, you're reading the state.
This is
correct?
what we go by.
But the state already came and inspect and issued all the license to sell and to pay tax and all these permits.
No, and I hear what you're saying, and I understand it completely. It's just, it is reserved for us to decide that. So that's why I said, one goes with the other. I hear what you're saying completely about the permit itself, but one thing goes into the other. Yes?
I just wanted to comment on this, is that first it has, I think you do probably have the authority to alter the regulations if you choose to do so, provided you go through the right process,
Mhm.
which includes public hearings. And under the circumstances, you wouldn't be able to do it for just one entity. you
Oh,
know,
understood.
all of the
I
entities who
understand.
currently have the permit.
Understood, absolutely, absolutely, I understand that.
This is under current.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
I personally don't care whether they have a permit or not, as an argument. And I'm just, it did seem a little confusing with the way this started about where the legality of doing this was until Dan kind of went through the comparison laws, and I think what he says makes a lot of sense. Because if it's not currently in our bylaws, then it defaults to state law. And if state law says they can, they can. Until the local laws are stronger. And then they have to comply with local law.
Absolutely. And that means everyone across the board. So when you say
Absolutely. Everybody in
smoking,
town.
and
Absolutely.
that's going to also involve other entities.
Absolutely. No question about
That's all I'm saying,
Can't
in all
target one
fairness, and how the process goes from here, but we're at this point, and I just feel that it's wrong to set a precedence when the first hookah bar, am I correct, a smoking bar, come to town, and now you wanna change the laws?
it.
And
Is
again,
it the first one? Isn't there one on Hamilton Street already?
No.
Is,
No.
I
No,
thought
that's
it was
not a shop,
smoking
it's not a
vape.
smoking
Again, being-
bar.
Isn't it smoke?
It's a shop, but you can smoke in the shop, but
That's what I
you can't, it's not a smoking bar, it's not the same thing. It's not like
You
you
can
sit
smoke
there,
on premises?
you can smoke,
what's the
the
difference?
e-cigarettes, but you can't smoke like a hookah in the building.
So-
Still smoke.
exactly.
Yeah, I see
And how you define it, we can go back and
In
forth,
business.
but it's allowable until it's set in regulations. So Chair, you are right, if the board can amend.
Yes, they
But
can.
I think just the timing right now is very suspicious, and
It's not fair.
it's not fair, in my opinion too, but that, that's what I just have to let you know, and the permit right now is the ability for the upcoming smoker bar to sell tobacco. If you
Right.
look at the permit, it's the same permit, same version as a Cumberland Farms or another place selling tobacco cigars. Exactly.
Do they have a special addendum to the permit or a separate
Oh.
permit that allows them to smoke on the premises?
Okay, let me take a question. Mr. Lazo?
Madam Chairman, I basically well versed on this. I own a bar in town, pub, and I choose not to have any smoke in my bar. I love it. I remember when everybody was smoking all the bars and stuff. It would just, we'd be in the bar, we'd smell like smoke, but, it was all about customer service.
Yeah.
But I also am pro-business, and this is why I'm here today. I believe that you can change the regulation and it will not be pre-existing non-conforming. I think if you change the law, it's like when you changed the law about smoking in Southbridge, we all adhered to the law. When the laws change, so don't the activities in these buildings. My point is this, as an example, I've never smoked marijuana. I'm not a proponent of, saying, hey, I think you all should be smoking marijuana. But I also was a proponent for revitalizing and bringing back the marijuana stores in Southbridge. And let me tell you what. Being pro-business, I thought that having these 3 locations in Southbridge, instead of them going to Sturbridge and losing all the revenue, because you're going to have the stores, whether they're in Charlton, they're in Sturbridge, and Southbridge voted no, and then we had a reconsideration, we voted yes. And the purpose was the revenue. Why lose the revenue to the other towns? Give them the choice. Their businesses, they put a lot of money. If you look at the buildings they refurbished and rehabbed, was very good for the neighborhoods. And they have their marijuana, medical, or whatever it is. On the smoking side, I would choose not to do it. But if I had to advise, after listening to the health director, I'm looking at it as, if you want a hookah bar and you want to go smoke, I think you should have that option. I don't think we should bar them from Southbridge. The Eagles Club, one of the main reasons why they survive is they smoke in the club room. Polish Club chose to get rid of smoking. It hurt the customer base and it hurt the finances. We got the Indian Club. I'm a member of all these clubs. I choose not to probably go there as much as I should because I choose not to go there because of the smoking. I go in smaller trips and grabs as a member and donate, but not my choice, my first choice to go to. But as a community, I think we have to offer, Worcester has hookah bars, other people, other towns do. If it's gonna help a gentleman like Joe Dow, his brother, they buy a building that looks kind of rugged. I saw what he did with the Flamboyant, I saw him what he did with some of the other businesses. He goes in, he does first-class renovations. He upgrades the building, which a lot of people don't wanna come to Southbridge, upgrade anything. He's a big investor in Southbridge, everybody knows it. I think his brother is a reputable guy, I know him personally. Going forward, I would advise the Board of Health, allow the hookah bar. If a person wants to go into a hookah bar, that is their choice. We cannot force regulations on everybody. Well, I know what's healthy for you. I've never smoked in my life, but I'm in favor of a hookah bar because it's pro-business, it's part of what we do in America. An open and honest business can run on the streets of Southbridge. So going forward, I think what's in front of us here today is, do you want to change the bylaw? That's what would drive the agenda tonight, not whether he did something wrong. You did nothing wrong. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. I admire that. At the same time, the Board of Health, and I commend you, Madam Chairman, the way you run a meeting, you run an excellent meeting. Going forward, I think we have to consider, do you want the hookah bar or don't you? As a counselor, I'm an advocate for it because I'm pro-business. And I think we can work on that together. That's why we had a Board of Health, but you have your own conscience and constitution you have to deal with going forward. But I think as a community, we are trying every day with Adams and all the different counselors, trying to track businesses or help the businesses that are here to flourish. And it's all about the income, because if they're not making money, they'll close it, they'll make it apartments, and you won't have business. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for the time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for you. I'm gonna be quite blunt with it. I think this is kind of ridiculous. I think the attacks on adults wanting to use tobacco is ridiculous. I think this town has been way too strict in that. I'm a tobacco user. I go out of town to go to hookah bars. I'd much rather spend my money here in town as an adult to make that choice than have some appointed board, no offense, decide for me what my rights are. That's not the way I view this. You want to regulate whether or not children have access to it, you want to regulate where they get access to it, I'm all about that. But don't tell me as an adult that I don't have the right to go to a smoking establishment and smoke in there. That's a fundamental violation of my rights and what I want to do. Like, I just find this a little ridiculous, and I find that the director is absolutely right. If there's nothing spelled out in black and white saying it's not allowed, he's allowed to do it. And I don't think it's a good look for us to then go to the one business that's actually trying to do this, and then all of a sudden, oh, let's change the law. It's a little ethically questionable in my opinion, and I wouldn't push it. That's just my purview. I think the laws in this town around tobacco are already strict enough. It's already hard enough for most of these tobacco businesses to even survive at this point here in town. Even in comparison to other towns, this town's overly strict. So I would advise no on this, because I think all you're gonna do is drive more businesses out of town with policy like this, especially with all these private clubs. All those people are just gonna go, like, as the laws have said, they're just gonna go to other places to go smoke it. So why not keep the revenue and the economic activity here in town instead of prohibiting what adults can do?
Okay.
That's the way I
Thank you.
Noted. So I just want to make a point. So I'm sure all of us in certain circles, we've heard, these are the same debates all over, right? We've heard it's like, yes, we should have them, no, we should have them. You know, it's a debate ongoing, no, it's her business, you know, which one? You know, the fact of the matter is that, you know, it's on the table and it's something to discuss and something to determine if we want to go that route. We can go that route if we want to. You know, it's just, I think the point being is that when Mr. Wozniak, when that came to you, because it was a new use, it should have really come to us. You know, you really should have come to us with that. I know that,
I disagree.
and that's another reason why we have on the agenda as far as, you know, discussing whether we want to, you know, change the process of, you know, how we go about issuing
I
permits at
disagree.
this point.
I
And that's another reason
my
why I
opinion.
said they all kind of go together with that. Yes.
The interpretation of the law can be interpreted by, we can look through different lenses. The health director has interpreted our law. It doesn't say come to the Board of Health to give a hookah license. It doesn't say that. So the way he is reading the law, he's reading it correctly. Now, I do agree with what you're saying. This is something new for us.
Right.
As far as the hookah bar, yeah, the clubs always were allowed in their club room to do their private smoking. But do you want hookah bars in Southbridge? It's a legitimate discussion. I do not have a problem you bringing that up as a discussion in the town of Southbridge. Is it good? Is it bad? Weigh the pros and cons. Have a conversation on it. But
Absolutely.
do I think anybody here did anything wrong? No. But I think you're doing your job by questioning it, not by overturning it, but if you want to change the law, you have the power to change the law. I mean, I'm a town councilor. I change bylaws, we change charters, we're not perfect. We're constantly evolving, even council regulations. We change them to try and make them better. That's your job at the Board of Health. But right now, as we sit, hookah bars are allowed. And that gentleman there can give the permit. But you can change it if you want. I came here to say, don't change it. I support the Board of Health. I think the Board of Health is running great lately, and I think you got a hell of a meeting. But just an opinion from the outside in, I would say leave the hookah bar. But I think I really understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think it's beyond like just a hookah bar. I think it's a
Right.
level of education. You know, when you're behind something, you know, just having people understand what it is, you know, does it constitute? Is it something that's accessible? Because then it just comes back here,
Right.
you know, in the long run again.
But in a lot of cases, the public, who is probably not as informed as
Right.
you, the Board of Health, or us, the councilors, or even the health director, our town manager, we're in the boardroom all the time. You're working on these issues.
Right.
You know more than the average, you represent them.
Right.
But you know more because you're in the boardroom, and I think you're working on it.
And again, I want to reiterate, it's like, this is not just about your business.
Yeah.
This is across the board.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is not just your business. Go ahead.
Again, I'm not here to look for trouble. But in general, you see all the community around us building improvement. And we will say Southbridge is a friendly business. And so far, I've been 2 years and a half involved. I mean, regardless, I own different businesses and I deal with different board or meeting, whatever. I see a lot of people just get to the front step. Soon they ask a question, the way it was answered, they run back. I mean, we say our frontage of the main street empty, the stores, or we don't have people coming in, but people is coming in and we're turning them away. We don't want to be special. But 60% of the generation 21 plus, because that's illegal, you have to be 21 plus. They go to Worcester, they go to Springfield, they go to Boston, they go to Fitchburg, they go to Connecticut, they go everywhere to sit down with their friend, smoke that hookah, whatever. I don't smoke. I don't smoke none of them. Not cigarette, not a weed, not a hookah. I'm not, nothing. I own either bar, I don't either drink, But we're trying to do something special for the community, like something different, something. And again, this place is gonna have a sign saying it's a smoking bar. It's up to the person if you wanna go in or not to the smoking place. It's not like we harm anybody. It's not like we enforcing anybody to go in there. It's just like every other community, try to have something different and special. And what I see here in town, what we have to offer the generation is growing, not to leave town or not to go outside town, or we have nothing. Like, what do we have special? Nothing. It's an empty town. It's vacant, pretty much. Pretty much it's vacant. We keep fighting ourselves. Like, every time somebody wanna make something, a new idea, we fight him to close them down. He's gonna be rich from the hooker lounge? No. It's maybe headache for him, and I told him. You know, it's not gonna be like a goal, but it's something different, something trying to, wow, Southbridge got a hooker lounge, you know? I don't know how you guys look at it, you know, but again, we not, it's not like you're doing something illegal or we're doing marijuana was liquors, you know, that's illegal too. So just to go sit down, have a drink, put a hookah, smoke it, and go home end of the day. You know, with a little meza, maybe chicken wing or French fries, whatever. You know, just something keep the people out of trouble. You know, like, what else we're gonna give him to keep him out of doing funny thing out on the street, you know, that's all. You know, we're not looking for an argument or who's gonna prove who wrong or who's right, or we always, I know we're always, I mean, all, you and us trying to make the community better.
We're just trying to do our
the
best.
best for
That's
the
it.
community, you know?
Yep.
I like the idea, discuss it and look forward for stuff, but the idea is like evoke it, it's kind of like, it's like kind of a little bit stronger on us, you know, we just heard it. We don't get no paper in the mail, we don't see it anywhere else, you know, we just find out, and I look on my agenda, like in the meeting and all that, I'm like, whoa, 1 second, we don't know about it, you know, we have the permit, and now we're coming to not either call us and tell us we're gonna revoke the license, or you have a meeting for that. I mean, it's not right the way it was set up, but again, we're not here to argue, we're here to do improve things.
I just wanted to make a note, I actually sent an email to Mr. Wazik, prior before that.
To George?
Mr. Wazik.
Okay, but
I sent an email to let him know
a
that.
few days
Go ahead.
ago or something?
No, that was probably about,
Yeah.
what was that, about?
But you know,
Yeah.
at least like sometime you just send, you know, we notify the businessman or the owner of the permit, like,
Right,
hey, you coming up in a meeting, we're
Right.
gonna discuss your matter, you know, if you like to be heard, whatever, I mean, not just.
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I sent him an email to let him know that, we wanted to, this was for the board to really, to put on the table.
Well, can I add to that, Chair? Because I have the email that you sent me on Monday, the 30th. And you emphasized that, please understand that this permit will need to be rescinded as it is invalid. Being issued in error, as this was not authorized by the Board of Health. I think the whole idea here, we talked about that there was no erroneous action on my part, and it was not issued in error. Your statement says otherwise. And again, it has come to my attention that there is a smoking lounge in progress, and that you have signed the tobacco product and nicotine delivery device license. Again, just to reiterate, we have 40 of those. As you can see on the license, whose signature is it? It's Daniel Washik, the Director of Public Health. For this business, Casa de Licor, if I pronounce it, DBA The Lounge, 11 Pleasant Street, giving permission to sell tobacco products and nicotine delivery services. Let me reiterate that. Giving permission to sell tobacco products and nicotine delivery services. That is the same permit that we have issued every year to 40 businesses.
Does other licenses have to go through in front of the board?
No,
Oh.
they do not. That is processed by the health department. Maritza brought to my attention, and I sign off. If all the requisites are fulfilled, and that many of these permits are associated with the Department of Revenue,
Mr.
that's
Wazik?
state law.
Mr.
So,
Wazik, well, with this board, this is our first. So
Right,
this
so
is
I
why
don't
we're
get what
here
the
with
point,
this.
what is the point though? I don't understand why you're addressing that email right now, when she's already said, listen, we're working through the process,
But-
we're trying to gain a better understanding. I don't understand
Sounds
what the
bullying.
relevance is,
No.
but what the relevance is of going back to an email that she sent, she's gathered more information, and she's trying to figure things out. So I don't see the use, wait, there's several issues here. So, listen, I
Hold
don't
on,
think,
please.
I don't think we need to regurgitate the past. I think we need to move forward. And we've had a lot of great discussion here. And quite honestly, I'm taking a little exception now to going back to this email because what it seems like to me is you're grandstanding a little bit. And if we're being totally honest, I think that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to sway everything, and you don't even know our opinion. And quite honestly, I'm just getting upset at this because we've talked about it in nauseum, and now we're going around and around in circles. Mr. Lazo said it perfectly. None of us want to get in the way of these businesses.
No, we don't. Not at
We
all.
just want to understand, and this is a new one. And listen, I love Southbridge, and I love the fact new businesses are coming in, and nobody knows how I'm going to sway either way. So I don't want you to think that I have this preconceived notion. And I think we brought up some great conversation,
Absolutely.
but I just don't understand why we need to go back to the email.
Well, who brought this up? The chair.
No one brought up the
No,
email.
of course, you
but,
just.
but there
I
was
don't
an
think
email.
you're listening
She
to
was
the
just
conversation.
explaining. No,
Mr.
the
Wozniak?
only reason why she brought up that email was just to say, listen, I did give you a heads up.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into the detail of the email because she hasn't brought that up. The only thing that she brought up was she brought it up to you weeks ago because she wanted him to know, hey, we weren't just pulling a last minute audible. That's the only reason.
Absolutely.
So if we want to stick to the facts of this whole matter is whether or not we should allow it, and then we can move on to the next agenda, which I think is more critical right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my apologies, I am, yes, I did let my feelings just control me. But when I hear this email come out, and then I'm like, what is this? And then now all of a sudden you're starting to say, the timing of this is suspicious.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I don't
That's
understand.
my opinion.
I know it's your opinion, but what good does it have to do with,
With
this
everything,
conversation?
because the agenda,
So
as
then
she
why don't
said,
you say what the
coincides.
issue is?
What is the
What
issue?
is the suspicious?
What is the-
What do you
And
think?
previous
Wait.
suspicion acts.
No,
Yes.
no.
He has to
I know.
bring it up.
I just want to
The way
hear.
it's worded,
One at a
it's
time.
an error.
No,
One at a
but-
time.
Question is competence.
Wait.
Everyone, please, one at a
Listen.
time.
Yeah.
Josh?
This is a health director calling out the Board of Health, and I just don't understand. Why do you
Well,
think
because it says that this was issued in error.
Okay.
Can you
that was
read
her,
it right here?
That was her opinion at the time.
And this is my opinion that it's
and
not.
I get it, and we've
And
already
I'm
talked
sharing
about
that,
it.
and I don't think you agree with
Okay,
me.
hold on.
Listen, you don't
It-
know
well,
what
you-
you don't know what I
Well,
agree
obviously,
because
but
that's
what you just
that's-
said-
Gentlemen,
I don't
please.
understand the relevance of the conversation. I don't understand why you need to go back.
Hold on 1 minute, Tony. Mr.
You
Wozniak,
have to get the facts.
Mr. Wozniak,
I already have the facts.
as you know, I have been in contact with the Mass Board. And I believe they contacted you and explained that as well.
No, I have talked to them, and again, what you're indicating, let me just reiterate, the first part, okay, is that
Yeah.
this was, and
No,
hold on,
actually, no,
and
no.
this is allowed,
No, actually,
and
we're
what,
gonna stop right there because I just wanna make point of that and that's it. So we have to move on to Ms. Ryan.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. I also just wanted to bring up the fact that I know a lot of the social consumption regulations are going to be coming down from the Cannabis Control Commission relatively soon as well. And that's something to also be considered when you're talking about smoking laws and where establishments allow smoking. Because we may be putting the cart before the horse before these regulations come out from the CCC.
Right.
And the town may be more interested in having a more comprehensive
Right.
bylaw.
And again, I just wanna say, again, I wanna point out, this is for discussion. This is being brought at the table, this is for discussion. That's what
So I'm
this
just
is,
bringing my
and
input,
yeah,
like, I
and
just
I
think it's
appreciate
a little
both
bit
sides of it
of
as well. I mean, this, you know what, there is, we wanna just keep, again, we wanna keep respect. We wanna keep, one at a time. It gets a little
My
confusing.
apologies. My
No,
apologies.
that's okay,
Yeah,
that's
this
okay.
is never a malicious intent
It's
on
not,
any
no,
business.
not at all,
Yeah,
not at all.
yeah.
You know what, and again, it's like, as this board here, this is the first time this came to us, any type of smoking lounge. We can't be held responsible for the prior. That's it. Hold on, who is next? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, I'm sorry.
Eric.
You can go.
Eric,
Eric.
I'm the town planner. So according to Mass General Laws 270 subsection 22G, bear with me a second.
Yeah.
Hold the phone. It's section 2, and then, or G2, and then G3, if this ever loads. Okay.
Okay,
So G2 says a retail tobacco store that permits smoking on the premises shall, pursuant to paragraph 4, post in a clear and concise manner a sign at each entrance warning persons entering the establishment that smoking may be present on the premises, of the health risks associated with secondhand smoke, and that persons under the age of 21 years of age may not enter. 3 of the same section says, a smoking bar shall, pursuant to section 4, post in a clear and conspicuous manner signs at all entrances which warn persons entering the establishment that smoking may be present on the premises, health and people under 21 can enter. So, then 4 says, every area in which smoking is prohibited by law shall have no smoking signs conspicuously posted, so that the signs are clearly visible to all employees, customers, or visitors while in the workplace. Now,
Okay.
based upon that language, it would seem to me that a smoking bar and/or a tobacco establishment which permits the smoking on premises is allowed. In absence of bylaws in the town, they are allowed, because the state allows
Right,
them.
Right,
That is-
and what we're discussing now is whether we want to change that. That's
No, I
what's up for
understand, but
discussion
the
now.
item that you're discussing
Yeah.
right now is
Yeah.
revoking an issue permit for a premises to sell tobacco. Is that correct?
That's-
Item 7.
Yes.
Okay,
I mean, is that correct or am I
that's what you're
incorrect?
speaking
I'm
to.
just-
So this, so
So
given
if-
that,
and-
go ahead.
I'm sorry. It seems to reason, I
Mhm.
could be wrong, I've been wrong in the past, I've been wrong before,
Okay.
I've been wrong yesterday,
Why
I'll be wrong
not?
tomorrow.
Okay,
That if every other permit is signed by the Director of Health, and this one was signed by the Director of
Mhm.
Health, then where's the error in that? I just want to explain.
but, and that's exactly, that's why it gets a little confusing. That's why we've got like 3 different items pretty much all meshing together. That's another topic on the
For
table.
this specific item, where's the error?
When this came to light, I had checked in with the Mass Board, and this
I'm sorry,
information,
Which board?
the Mass Board, they're pretty much like, they
Board
kind of
of-
govern, the Mass Board, Massachusetts, they pretty much govern all the
Board of
boards of
What?
Massachusetts.
Sorry, Board of what?
The Mass Board.
Which one?
Which one?
There's about 25 ways.
Yeah, there's Board
Yeah.
of Health, is it
This
Mass
one,
Board,
I'll
Mass
tell
Board
you
of
which
Health? I'm
one
sorry,
this
I
one
just-
is direct, yep. So, hold
Sorry,
on a
no,
moment.
I
That's
mean-
okay.
You mean the Department of Public
The
Health?
way it's written
No,
on the agenda is.
the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards,
Oh,
Winchester,
they-
Mass.
Okay, so that is
Winchester,
not
Mass.
a,
Yeah.
that's not a
And she's-
legislative body.
That is the agency.
That's not a state agency or
That's
legislative
And
body.
this-
that's an organization of boards of health.
Yes,
that's-
it is,
that's
yeah.
like I-
And that's
I-
what we go for guidance for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's,
yeah.
that's,
Yep.
that's the same, I'm
Yep.
sorry, guys,
Yep.
excuse me.
Oh, no,
That's
and I
the same
understand what
thing
you're saying,
as-
right.
My Conservation Commission
Yep.
going to MAC, which is the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions, or the
MMA.
planners,
Right.
the town, the planning board going to the Citizen Planner Training Collaborative.
Agreed.
Those are not legislative bodies, they're advisory bodies, and yes, they probably gave you information, and maybe it's correct, but the state law is the state law, and that's what you have to go by. So if there's no error in the state, if the error is not in the state law, and the act was carried out according to state law, then I don't think there's an error, I'm sorry, I just don't see it.
You're right.
Okay, noted. Who was first? Sorry. Leslie.
I like what I hear here today. What I see is passion from you. Passion from you. You're the leader. You guys are doing a great job. You're not doing anything different that we don't do in government. You're part of the government. Argue your point, and then vote your conscience. But the bottom line comes down to is, I think we moved as a Board of Health a little too quick to make the call, when I think maybe we should just talk about maybe the next agenda item, which is, do you want this in your town or don't you want this in your town? If you keep going back to the email, and then if you bring up the email, then you're gonna have a counterpoint. Anytime you have a debate, there's never bad debate, as long as it's respectful and not personal. But I think you guys are in the right position here. It's a great question on tobacco. Now, what do you wanna do with it? That's what you should be arguing.
Yeah.
To do it or not to do it
Yep.
is really the real question.
And I think that that's what was going, it's the
Right.
language was wrong,
Yeah.
right? But that's,
That's right.
but that's
I
exactly
didn't get
what.
everything perfect.
Right, and that's what Nicole is saying, you know, this is a blended,
You wanna find a job, keep going, you're
Yeah.
gonna find the answer.
yeah, this is a blended, argument, you know? You know, based on education, based on, is this gonna come back to us at some point like other things have with the flavored and this? And then we're completely out of the loop because we don't know, you know, about certain things, you know? I think this is just a, you know,
Well, there's several different entities we're kind of touching on, too.
yeah, do that.
Sorry, I think you were next. Did you have something to say or no?
Oh, they already said it.
Okay. Sit down. Go ahead. Sorry.
Again, like I say, we're not here to prove who's wrong or who's right, or, and I like the idea discussed it. Just my concern was at the beginning, the agenda number 7, to revoke the license was given because it was given in an error. And that's what I think Mr. Daniel is trying to point is it wasn't an error on his side, and that license wasn't given illegal. It was whatever the bylaw, whatever he did, search. We contacted the state. We're doing our job complete what required from us through the state bylaw too. Now, if you guys want to move that agenda, we close it, and you want to discuss other matter. If Mr. Lazo say,
Sure.
you say if we want to continue doing hookah lounge in town or not, I think we'll all be on the same page. But right now, we're discussing agenda number 7, and agenda number 7
Well, and that's,
say
yeah, and that's
we
what's,
need
yeah,
to
that's
revoke
what's
it.
kind
If
of,
you say
it
to me,
goes
okay, forget
all
that
together with
agenda,
that,
and somebody will
Yeah.
make a motion to move it and close that agenda, with no decision what made on it, and we open the second agenda and we discussed it, I don't think anybody will have a problem or any concern. But right now, we discussed in agenda 7, and it is concern. It is concern for how he's gonna look in front of everybody else, making an error, the director of the Board of Health, with all these license, all these decisions, all this, I mean, he was hired for a reason on his experience, and if we trying to put a finger on him, because he's the one wrong, obviously, when you say an error, he's the one issued the license, he's not gonna look good for in front of anybody else, that's what he's trying to do, trying to say, it wasn't an error, he's not trying to make anybody wrong but he's trying to say, listen, I did my job, I followed the rule, I opened the law, and this is what it is, and I did whatever I supposed to do. I'm not wrong, I'm not an error. Like I say, we're here for peace, we're here trying to improve the community, and we're trying to work all together as a team. If you guys want to close agenda number 7, no decision was made, we respect that, and we move on to the next one if you guys want to allow hookah lounge or not. I mean, thank you.
I do want to make note that, where we're supposed to take our guidance from, that's where we went through. And, that's what we checked with. And, one of them of which is as an attorney, we checked that. But the other thing is that whether that is, legally an error or whatnot, I think most of us can agree that, if someone has just started a new job and a new business comes up, I think, kind of common sense, you go to that person and say, hey, this is coming up.
Now we get into something, I think that's what I don't want to look to that. Again, you say start a new job and make a wrong decision. And what he did not do the wrong decision because he opened the bylaw of the town of Southbridge and nowhere say you not allow hookah lounge in the bar. This is what I think this is what we keep coming back and forth.
Yeah.
He did not do anything wrong, and that's what he's trying to say. I didn't do anything wrong, regardless if he's a new or old. He opened what we provide for him on the table.
Noted.
So
I'm going to let Dan speak. Go ahead. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, well, agenda number 7 is to approve it, but to not to approve. That's what we're discussing, right?
Yeah,
We're
to
go-
determine
we're
to
going
approve.
beyond that too. We're discussing other stuff.
Right.
But the thing is,
No, and you're correct.
according to what Daniel said and what Mr. Dow said, there really wasn't any law broken. It was my purview. We have that right. The town has that right. And I'm not gonna take that right away from the town. So we have to approve it or not.
Motion to table would be in order.
To
Well-
approve it,
No, a motion to table would be in order because
That's what I'm, yeah.
you would put it on the table. If you ever want to bring it back, you can bring it back, but it'll die on the table if you wanted to.
Right.
Yeah.
but if it dies on the table, so does this still go through?
Well, no, then you
So,
can bring it
in
back.
other words,
No, not him. You could bring it back to say, oh, is this smoking lounges something that you want in the town? And then you can change bylaws. And
Doesn't that
kind of-
negate
but
though
in the
his
meantime,
permit?
it's
Right.
still.
It would,
So-
yes, but not just his, it would negate everybody's permits that have, that would. that
Because
have
you're
smoking-
not-
that
you're
allow
not more
smoking.
than-
If you were to table
It's a
it.
crime.
No, no, no.
No, if we table it, yeah.
The law.
I think you can do
His
consensus
permit
as a
stands on
board
its own.
determined.
I don't think he broke the law.
No.
Throw it on the table and let it die of its own death. That's what I would do. It's just a suggestion.
The only problem
Can it
with
be
that is that
removed?
you can always take it up again.
we motion
If you
to
wanna
just
kill it
remove
off.
it?
Move to table it,
Just to remove,
and
say
then
yes.
let it die on the
All right.
table.
Yeah, we can, because
So
I
he
think
still
there's a lot of
gets his
information.
So he still gets his
Everything
permit,
that's
it's
on.
all done? Okay.
Well,
Well, that's what I was
That's
saying
what I'm
earlier. So if we table this, he still gets his permit.
well,
It's
To
not
sell
written,
tobacco,
just
you just can't kill
vote.
it. In other words, it wasn't approved
The
or
motion
disapproved, so
table
things
is
go
a
on his
vote.
business.
There was a motion and a second, then just table it.
Can we do a consensus?
one moment, please.
I don't,
No, I think, I think there's, I don't think we're ready to just make a decision at this point.
In
I
regards
don't think we're
to
ready.
to Pleasant Street and agenda item 7.
Actually, like to agenda number 7, well, we kind of intermeshed with
Right,
all
that's
of
what I
us,
was about
really.
to say with
We're-
number 7.
We're simultaneously really discussing agenda item number 7, 8, and 9, really. So, like, there's a lot of information, so.
I disagree, there's two different things here. One, did he do it wrong? Yes or no? You wanna vote on it, vote on it. Did he do anything wrong? That would take care of that agenda item. Shoot or salute, yes or no?
That is
There we
true.
go.
And then move on to the next agenda item.
That's true.
and
I was
that's,
just trying to
Well,
do
it's
it in a
the
nice
two, the
manner.
two others that we still
Right.
need to get information on, the
Right.
two
and
others.
and Nicole, that's why I said at the
Yep.
beginning, we got a couple issues.
No, I
So how
gotcha.
do you,
I gotcha, yep. No, I gotcha.
all right.
One more thing. So in other words, if we table agenda number 7, and it says devices that was issued in error. So if we table it, so there really wasn't any error, it just goes on as it was.
Right, that would just make the decision.
So everything
whether
is
they did it.
dead, but Mr. Dow or whoever would get his,
But what's
He's
up,
already got it.
Yeah.
so
Right.
what?
If you say that he did something wrong.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, so if it dies, so that word error just disappears.
So we
Everything
can-
goes on as
we can-
usual.
we
It
can-
dies on the table.
Right.
we can move agenda item number 7, but agenda item number 8 and 9 can still be on the table.
Right,
Right.
exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Right, that's what it is.
So,
Okay.
so, Gus said something.
Huh. After listening to everybody
Gus.
talk, I don't
I'm
think
sorry.
I think the permit is good,
Right.
myself.
Right.
Okay.
How it got there, that's the other issues, which I'm willing to
Yep.
talk about.
Yep, yep.
But honestly,
Okay. Yes.
it's a good permit in my mind.
Exactly, that's
Gus,
all.
you had something to say?
I was just gonna say that from a procedural point of view, I think you really should make a motion to approve the permit, get it done, and then it's over. Because you don't, actually, I disagree with Scott when he's saying you leave it on the table, because then if you leave it on the table, you can always vote to take it up again. Whereas if you vote in favor of the permit, the issue is done. Or you vote against the permit, the issue is done that way too. That's up to you guys. But, I think what everybody is saying here is that the permit is valid, and that, and then you vote to support your health director's actions in issuing the permit, and then you go on to deal with whether or not you want to change the bylaw. They're two separate issues.
Mhm.
And if you do choose to change the bylaw at some point in the future, and decide to make that, all of these issues illegal, then his permit, by definition, gets revoked,
Right,
as does everyone else's.
right.
That falls into that category.
Yeah,
And
no,
then
it's an all or
that's a
nothing.
moot point.
Yeah, no, it's all or nothing, yeah.
At this point in the game, we spent $12,000 air filtration systems that has 3 stages that the smoke goes through to get purified. So you're not sitting and breathing the smoke again and again. And then we made so many changes based on the approval and that we're going that way. There was business advisors to present a business plan to the state. There was so many things that got changed that revoking that license is gonna affect me financially and way behind in the game that I will be looking to get recouped.
Okay, noted, thank you.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, like Gus said, we don't want to see this keep coming up in the future. I say we vote on it. The permit is good. We're not violating anything, and it's just, I'd make a motion to approve agenda item number 7. I say we vote on it tonight.
No, the way you phrase it, you need to make a motion to approve the action of the board of directors.
Okay.
Because the way that agenda item is written, it would revoke it.
All right, I apologize. I make a motion to approve
The actions of the town.
of the health director's actions. Daniel,
Actually,
what
we
should
should
we?
amend we should amend the item too.
It depends on how they move to the beginning. But that's the act, that would be the active motion.
Thank you, Gus.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
I don't think they actually made a motion to start this.
No, they didn't.
So you made a motion?
That would
I
be-
make a
that's the
motion to accept Mr. Usiak's
Just a-
decision on this permit.
I'll second.
Thank you. Paige Sutka,
Yes.
Anthony Pasali,
Yes.
Nicole Duffy,
Yes.
Dan Grabowski,
Yes.
Jasmine Canonas.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Issue is that
So we kind of simultaneously spoke about a couple of the other agendas on this, but,
Thank you guys.
We did. Good luck.
Thank you.
so agenda item number 8. Well, we're kind of just going through it, we'll just go through this hopefully. Discuss whether to amend current regulations to tobacco use, including restricting youth access on the prohibition of smoking bars. I myself would like to table this for the
Yeah, we
discussion.
need more, yeah.
I agree.
Mhm.
Is that a motion?
You guys have to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to table.
I'll second.
Dan Grabowski,
Yes.
Anthony Pasali.
Yes.
Jasmine Canonas.
Yes.
Paige Sutka,
Yes.
and Nicole Duffy.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay. And agenda item number 9, discuss the process of issuing permits to determine if this is to be amended. So, and again, I bring this up because of the situation when it happened, you know, so, and granted, you know, I mean, as going forward, that's the way they do it, you know, they haven't checked. But I think with this is something I think we all would have wanted to know beforehand, so, it just kind of sheds the light, going forward on other permits. So I don't know how anyone else feels, actually I have a question. Maritza, what's the, on average, like by week, you know, how many permits kind of come through, just in general,
Anywhere between 5 and 10 permits a week.
that comes in a week? Okay. And what's the turnaround time usually when they have to be signed or get back to, what's that time frame that you have on the table?
Well, unfortunately, at a lot of our establishments, mail them in days before their expiration dates.
Okay.
Literally days before. Whoops. So the turnaround time is fairly quick.
Okay.
It would be nice if there was a little more time.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Did you have a question?
Thank you, Chair, through you. I think, I could be wrong, I think the Board of Health have enough hurry and stuff to deal in the town and the residents and the trash and illegal thing, and for say a babysitter to prove a sell tobacco license, what is being in this town forever, the directors to get hired with experience, was whatever by law is supposed to be, to you guys sit babysitter them, and then you don't need them no more, send them home. Why we're gonna pay them a lot of money if everything you have to sign is gonna come before you?
I hear what you have to say, but you know, in all honesty, it's like that tobacco lines, they have been on us for, you have no idea. These are bigger, this is bigger than, you know,
But
than
right,
that is.
right now, you're discussing tobacco license as a convenience store, the gas station, as a, not smoking tobacco in the bar. So you kind of looking for, not really on the target you're looking at, you're looking on a different target. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
No, noted.
You know what I mean? So if you're gonna sit down and babysit him, who's gonna issue the permit to convenience store, sell tobacco and gas station, I think we should send him home and send the town money. He doesn't need to be here no more.
Nice knowing you all.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, noted.
The guy have experience.
Right. Well,
on his,
okay.
in his field experience, you know,
And,
that's why
and
we're
that,
hiring him.
and
why
that's
we're
noted,
promoting him.
but again, like I said, what shed light on this in the first place was this smoking lounge, that we had no
No,
idea.
I agree with
We
you.
would have wanted to know that, and to me, it would have been, again, if that was me in his shoes, I would have said, oh, I might wanna bring that up. And it didn't, so this is why I bring it up. I'm not making
But
I'm
the
not
thing
making a
is,
judgment at
what
this
you're
point.
trying
This
to
is
look
what's
at
going on the
now, you don't
table.
think it out. You're trying to say, I wanna say yes or no, if I wanna give it to him or him.
Yeah.
That's not kinda
Yeah.
looking at
Actually,
the
but the
bylaw,
board
what's a
re-
requirement.
But the board reserves the right,
No,
if
I'm
we
not
do
arguing
want
that
to
with
do
you,
that.
I respect that.
Yeah, we can.
But when you say to him bring it to the table
Right.
to discuss it in the future, any other license is gonna come through, what are you gonna discuss? To see if you wanna give it to Lazo or Dow's or Steve or Eric?
Well, that's a situation by situation.
Change the bylaw.
We're just dealing with it as a whole, but I gotta move on. Yes,
So just as a, for instance, I staff 3 boards here in town.
Yeah.
And they have to, at some point, they have to trust that I know what I'm doing, that I was hired for a purpose,
mhm,
and that there are permits that I sign that I notify my boards after the fact.
right.
There are inspections that I do that I notify my boards after the fact. You know, maybe you guys need to look at a monthly report or a bi-weekly report.
Oh, no, and that's why we're bringing it on the table. I wanna see
Yeah,
what
I mean,
everyone's
you know, just
thoughts,
wanna
absolutely.
throw
We
that
just
out
wanna
there
open the
as a-
conversation, and we wanna look at it again, because something happened we didn't agree with. That's what's shedding light on it.
And it's not so much,
Yeah.
it's not so much, I trust you guys to do your job. Like, I don't wanna get in the way because what do I know? But I agree, there should be,
Yeah.
you know, there should be
Yeah.
something set because it's new to us.
It's just because of just what happened, that's not, you know,
For sure.
I mean, hey,
I mean, that's.
I didn't check on, you know.
You don't want to go to hell to be a rubber stamp.
Absolutely, absolutely agree.
So going forward,
Right.
this gentleman here is a great asset. When we hired him, we saw his background, where he came from, what he had for a resume and his experience, and we were very impressed with him. But when I say we don't want the rubber stamp, it's like the council. We do the bylaws, we do the council rules and regs. The law that he recited, the local bylaw, if the Board of Health wanted to change that, you would change the law. But I'm not sure you want to get into reading the law and approving the law as much as creating the law, which when he reads the local ordinance on tobacco, you write that. And if you need counsel to assist, that has to go to a different branch of government to approve it, that's what we're here for as citizens, is to formulate, to mold the clay, so then when you put it in place, he enforces what you put forward through the law or through the ordinance, whichever you want to do. I mean, we're going to be coming forward with some discussions with the Board of Health on different licenses. We have licenses upstairs, we have licenses downstairs. We just want to get on the same page with this one license for what we need to, when a citizen comes in. That's been debated upstairs for quite a while. That'll be coming down. But again, when you set the pace through the ordinances, he's your guy. He's your agent of the Board of Health to enforce, to give the permits out of the office. So I think your role is to be directly involved, and here's where I think you're right. How you get directly involved is to write the writings that orders him how to do it. And that's where, you gotta work together.
Right, so my point being, I just want to put out there, these are my thoughts, and I want to know what everyone else thinks, is that my thoughts are, I'm not saying, you know what, we're going to look at every permit, but I would be very interested in any new use. I think that we should absolutely, see that first, instead of just, signing that, just based on this, so, I mean, new use, definitely, so, I'm not sure. Anyone else's thoughts, or? Oh,
Just one quick comment.
okay.
I hope you don't get yourself in a lawsuit, because when he enforces the ordinance, and you override the ordinance, now you're gonna get the town in a lawsuit. And that's why we turn around when we do our bylaws for our ordinance, we have them proofread, then they go into effect, and then the proper authority, whether it be planning board, zoning board, they have their regulations. They might come back, report to you. This week we had four of these, 3-0, 2 of them. But the thing is, he's gonna be reading the law, and we're liable as a town for his decision and your decision. So going
yeah,
forward, keep that in
Oh, no,
mind.
absolutely. I mean, I know the impact of this, and that's the whole point of this. I mean, that's the whole point of why, I think it's important to, and honestly, I pretty much planned that we probably would end up tabling this, you know what I mean, because it's bigger than that. I understand that. But this discussion is needed, it's important, you know what I mean, and I absolutely, have respect for the businesses, but it's like with us, it's health, that's what we're here for, that's it. But, and again, it's as a board, as a team, we're gonna make this decision, it's not just a one-person deal. So, but I looked at, I'm looking at the whole big picture, and it's like, to me, my comfort, at this point is, I'd like to know new use businesses, so I'm not sure if anyone else feels.
Oh, I agree with that.
So maybe it's a report, a monthly report, right? Or do you want to see it before it gets issued?
Well, my thinking was new use, I'd like to see before that. I'd like us to discuss that before. Just because it's a new use, I don't know what kind of business that is. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know any of that. But, did you put your hand up? Or?
I did, just quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know, when you started the discussion and the idea of a hookah lounge and talking about that, I personally, I don't see any real difference between it and a vape lounge.
I couldn't hear
I
you.
don't see any real difference between a hookah lounge and a vape lounge. They're
Okay.
essentially the same thing. The products are slightly different, but it's still tobacco use. It's still being smoked in the facility. That's how they make their money.
Mhm.
I don't see too many people in the vape lounge on Hamilton Street. I suspect that there won't be all that many people in this place. I'm actually surprised the place in Hamilton Street still exists. To be honest with you,
I never seen
anybody.
anybody.
But it's a legal business, so I didn't really see any difference between the two. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, so at this point, I would like to, again, because it's big, I'd like to table this. Is everyone on board with that?
I'll make a motion to table agenda number 9.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Jasmine Canonas,
Yes.
Dan Grabowski.
Yes.
Anthony Postoli.
Yes,
Nicole
please.
Duffy.
Yes.
Paige Stuka.
Yes.
Motion
That
passes.
was hard.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks
Mike,
for
I'm gonna
your
come
guidance.
see you soon.
Okay. Okay, so, agenda item number 10.
Some
We
good
can
points,
move
Mr. Lazo.
Discuss the input for the usage of opioid funds. Does anyone kind of give that any thought and ideas for?
So that was for the suggestion of a part-time employee to do
I
that?
really like that idea. That was what,
That's the suggestion.
that
that's-
was the suggestion
Do we have a
Town
job
manager.
description or some type of, like, what the process would be?
No,
about?
as the board
details
members
are,
know,
yeah,
the
yeah.
state is,
Thank
did a
you.
settlement
Thank you.
with,
Thanks for your help.
with pharmaceutical companies.
Yep.
And there's going to be money allocated here town. I don't know if it already has. But the idea, it has to be used for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jasmine? You know, and you coming from that, and from that world, so to speak. So,
So what do they do?
well, here it is. It's to prevent addiction, treat addiction, current.
It's a big part-time job.
It's a lot, and that, we've talked about them out of my league, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, what I refer to what other health departments have, they have their opioid programs, these programs consist of specialists
Yeah.
that come from specialized services, addiction treatment, social work, and it's a specialized, again, scope, and so the town manager, Michael McCall, suggested that a social worker be in place for that process to align with what is reasonable for the funding. There's certain requisites that have to be fulfilled, and that was just an idea where, again, I wanted to bring it to the board and the board members as your suggestions, because that was circulated, and it certainly came with the health department. What's your feelings on this, particularly Daniel? That's why I want to bring it for discussion, what your thoughts are, so I could go back to him. But today's his last day. The new town manager coming in, I could give that input from the board as to what it may be.
I'm in favor of a social worker, providing the social worker is not just the person you can speak to, because addiction, not just opioid addiction, but any addiction. I don't want to go into that, but the social worker is a good first step. But that's not just the only step, because a social worker, in my opinion, would have to kind of give you a place to get the help. whether it's AA or not, reason being,
Resources,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Because-
Dan,
Direct.
because I went through the process.
They can direct you.
And let me tell you something, it's difficult. Like, just going to a person alone is not gonna help nothing. This is not a switch.
Right.
But
right.
this has to be the beginning of it. The social worker has to provide, well, the social worker, the person, man or woman that won't provide the help itself, but should be able to know where to provide the help. And I'm not talking, okay, there's a 12 o'clock meeting at Pine Street, because some of this help is beyond meetings itself. The beginning of the stage of addiction, meetings don't do anything, because your mind's going through all kinds of stuff. You pretty much hit rock bottom. When you hit rock bottom, it's a bad place to be. So, I mean, but this is a good beginning.
so is the money, so to that point, I agree 100%, but does that money, is it better served with another type of service? I don't know.
What are the
Thank you for-
ARPA regulations for the funding? Like, you know, like each grant has,
Well,
yeah.
this is a different, you have ARPA and this is the
It's a different
opioid.
one, yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
different, so
So
that
price-
funding, I don't know the specifics how much, but it, again, in reference to what the town manager said, and, I'm not fully, to
Is
the
that-
knowledge of how many hours. It's a part-time position, that's the money would be
Will they be
available.
reporting to you?
Well, no, again, that's the discussion we may have. Does the health department, inspectional services assimilate this responsibility and take responsibility for the social worker?
Well, let me ask you, has the amount been determined as of yet? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know the specifics of
Okay,
that. This
yeah.
is just a preliminary discussion as to what insight we can offer.
Yep.
And it could be a separate
Yeah.
department or
It's kind of
entity.
difficult because I know that they have, I saw the deadline, like, they need to have that in by March 1st, and we don't even have enough time to have another meeting about it, like if we were to have it on a Thursday. So I kind of need to know how much we have to work with to
That's it.
decide.
and I also would like to know, like, what are the requirements
Right.
to keep the funding? Because each grant
Yeah.
has
Right.
a certain
Right.
basis, like they need to do 20 hours of outreach or have 20,
Right.
you know, so.
You're right, you're right.
So I wouldn't have enough information because I think that the opioid crisis, the opiate fund is under the crisis intervention funds. And so there's a deadline for all that. And so, and the reporting to the state and all
Sure,
this
sure,
other
those
stuff, so.
requirements,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so,
Yeah, right. If I recall correctly, I want to say that the figure is somewhere in the 35 to 40,000 range.
Oh,
on a
okay.
part-time basis?
I believe so. Because remember, this is coming from the opioid lawsuit.
Lawsuits, right. Is there so many years, like projected for X amount of years, or
I
did they
I
provide you
don't
that?
remember exactly if we're getting annual funds or something. The court case, as I recall, is not entirely complete. They do all
Okay.
kinds of shenanigans.
Mhm.
It's lawyers. And it's just actually kind of stupid. It should have been open a long time ago. But as I understand it, what the town just need to figure out a way to fund it, kind of what, along the lines of what Dan said, about the way we need to use this money specifically for opioid-related issues.
Which we have plenty of.
And the idea of doing a social worker sounds like a really good one to me.
It does.
It makes a lot of sense.
It
I know
does.
we have those issues all over the place.
Actually, I don't think a social worker would be the
Is
first.
Spectrum still even
person.
exist?
I mean, either. Or someone who's
Was
got
it taken over by
expertise.
Harrington or what? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even
That's not
remember.
a question.
I actually don't think a social worker would be the best person on the first line
Okay.
of fire is somebody who, you know, that works in this field, to be the first person to contact on an opiate, on, you know,
I
if
mean,
somebody's coming.
How much, I know that there's been some talk about the police department getting training to deal with these kinds of crisis situations.
Yeah, crisis intervention.
Yep,
And
yep.
that kind of thing I think there's lots of people, not just the police and fire, that could benefit from that kind of training
That would be more,
in so
I
many ways.
think that would, yeah,
that's where you can spend your money.
yeah.
And
So
that
maybe a
might,
trainer versus a,
possibly, that might be one way to do it.
I know the need is more toward the actual.
Depending on where the money needs to be allocated, because in order to be able to keep that, you know, you have to do an RFR,
Oh, yeah.
and then you have to be able to prove to the RFR, so
Right.
I would like, It's gonna be, you know.
You
But
need
there
to
is
know
a
the
list of,
criteria.
like
Oh, yeah.
Narcan
You need to
training,
know
there's, so
that.
there's specifics, but
Yeah.
there's, off the top of my head, a list of like 20, 30 items that
Right,
particularly the money needs to be allocated.
right, exactly, because you could divide that into education,
Sure.
you could divide it
And
into
then-
training, you could divide it into Narcan training, whether it's what family, schools, this, yeah, so,
I would pick every 30 hours.
There were people, you know, and like Jasmine said, just a social worker out of the blue's not gonna do anything. But there are people who specialize in
Just someone on the front line.
in
you're
addiction,
talking
in
about, yeah.
addiction, people who are, most of the people who have any kind of training in addiction were probably addicts or alcoholics themselves. So they have a degree and they probably have lengths of sobriety. So what I mean by social worker is by finding someone.
No, somebody with lived
Someone that's
experience.
been through the stuff. Because sometimes when the person has problems, all they really need is someone to listen.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, someone who's been through it can even tell you what stage of addiction they're in, just by the experience. Because I have friends who, one time drank, they went and got degrees and they have lengths of sobriety, and that's what they do. But I'm not just talking about, but you know, that's what I meant about.
No, we get it.
You're
No,
Because
no,
if you go to a person who has no idea what addiction
true.
is, and they
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
well,
Yeah, absolutely.
have you
No,
tried-
and I
have you
meant-
tried your local preacher? Or
Right, and what I meant by a social, what I meant by a social
Well, that's where I get the
worker
problem.
is that, no, a social worker is specialized in certain, you know, when you're talking, sometimes you need a clinical background,
Yeah.
right, to be able to identify the stages of withdrawal, right? A social worker wouldn't be able to do something like that, so you need something that's
Specialized,
that's versed in all of it,
Yeah.
and then from there you can navigate. Okay, this person is going to need a detox. They're bad,
Right.
they're going to need this. They're going to need that, and then you can scope something. Or like Paige and I were just saying, because we're both in medical,
Right.
maybe we need training.
Broader.
Maybe it's
That's
more.
also, broader.
Maybe we're just doing baby steps and educating our town in what Narcan
Absolutely.
is. Are Narcan's
If
available?
you think of that person, the part-time person, you want it to be a successful
Right.
job for that
Right,
person.
right.
too.
Exactly.
And having those clear, and I don't know who's writing there, like when I started with the job description, it is really the first thing, and who's going to manage them. Those are huge
Yes,
pieces
yeah.
of energy for you all, and then also, like, what's the best benefit for the town? Yes.
So March, this needs to be in by
Go ahead.
March first?
Well,
March
again,
1st, they need it in by.
Here is the challenge. It was sent out by the town manager, which is last day today. Wanted
Yeah.
input. So we had this scheduled, so it's not working in our favor, but I assume if board members want to just email the new town manager or me, I can, my whole idea is just to
I
relay
think
this
that's a good idea.
information with
Those who know
ideas.
what-
And especially with someone like Jasmine that has the experience and the
Right.
knowledge of this, which
Yeah.
I don't. I can say, I don't know
Right, and it
if the
gives
other
them
members do,
a
but
little
I
more
don't.
time to think about really
Right.
the most appropriate, like when you
Right.
go back
Right,
home, you
sure,
start
yeah.
thinking about it
Yeah.
going, this, you're
That's what
talking
I'm
about.
saying. It's too bad we didn't have more time.
But at least I'm comfortable with
Which saying
Go ahead.
yes.
Finish
you
your-
guys
Finish your sentence. Go ahead.
working with Dan
Ideas,
to
Yep.
say, hey,
Real world
push them that
ideas.
way.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
Right, so if you'd like, send me or any.
Hold on, Gus.
What if we were to try to do something like this where because nobody seems to know what we need. What if we were to actually, I don't know if it would be legal to do this with this money, but what if we were to actually take it and try to figure out like some sort of a feasibility study for what the town really needs for services for mental health and addiction issues? Because I was thinking, while you were talking about it, I was thinking it would be really beneficial in our area if we had more detox beds, because there are very short supply in Massachusetts, from what I've read. And our area, I don't see any reason, if we could work with Harrington or something, to create something that would really help to serve not only our community, but the broader community in this area, because there is a desperate need for it in some way or other. I don't know how we go about doing that.
Yeah.
Well, we
I'm
got
definitely
Spectrum,
gonna have
we
to
got
do
Spectrum
that.
Health here, the police, the
I was just
overdose
thinking
and all
that,
that,
the
yeah,
police, yeah,
but this is a lot bigger than just that.
It
This
is,
all,
yeah.
these types of funding have a lot of requirements in order to keep them. And then you have to do what's called an RFR, which is a response, right, to the state. And so we need to figure out, is that something that we can even take on? Like, it might be just bigger than we are, and we can, you know, be like, hey, nobody really has the time to be supervising.
So it have the
this,
RFS be in by the March 1st?
I say we say, and I'm speaking for myself, yeah, you know, let's look into it. It's a great opportunity, you know, for us, for the town, but, you know, I wouldn't make any decisions until we see kind of like what the requirements
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
I can forward the board members' information when I gather it to keep you abreast of.
Because, I mean, this is, I mean.
I had a
this is
chance to
great.
look it
Yeah,
over,
it
but
is, right.
again, it was,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
There's more to it. I just wanted to bring it up for discussion. There's some thinking points and whatever board members would like, please let me know. Or again, contact the new interim manager.
I say it's
with
worth looking
suggestions.
into, for
Yeah,
sure.
it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Anytime there's been money
Right,
allocated.
take
It is a lot of
Any-
work.
yeah,
It's like your
any-
desk when you got your desk goes by.
It's just that we don't have the time, you know,
Oh,
take
yeah.
no time, you know what I mean?
No, this is a little short. This is a little short. No, this for an RFR.
But they were part of the
Oh, sure.
so
Um,
there's limits.
So even though there's funds, there's strict guidance
Yeah, you
to
gotta-
what
you gotta
need
meet
to
criteria.
follow. So it's not like here's 40,000,
No.
just apply it towards.
No, they're gonna
You
be
have certain
Yeah.
guidelines
Yeah.
you have to meet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
It's-
what's hard.
It's
Yeah.
you spend 30,000 just figuring out how you're gonna spend the
Yeah.
And you
40,000.
can't spend it on anything else but what
Yeah.
what that is, and that's it, yeah.
And everything is broken down, supplies, salaries, this,
That's what I
that,
mean,
you know,
yeah.
stamps, envelope, you know,
I
so.
know.
Yeah,
7%
No.
admin. Yeah, right, so, yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so.
they don't like the miscellaneous
Yeah.
box.
It's, and then they have to
Specific.
report every quarter, sometimes every month.
Quarterly
It
report.
just depends
yeah.
on the particular, I think it's RFP is what we're
So
talking
there's
about.
a lot
Oh my
more.
God, RFR, RFP, anything that ends in an R ends with a P.
Yeah, those are, they're a lot of work, but they're fine, it's a great idea and it's a good opportunity.
Then you would have
Just
to
might be
start
a little
establish MOAs with businesses, and then now we're getting into all kinds of
Yep.
like messes. It's a good idea. Anytime there's money allocated for things, I'm all in. The numbers and opioids and suicides and people who are overdosing in this town alone would surprise you.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm part of the police department board, and I can bring those next time. Your jaw would drop. So anytime that there's room for education, but obviously we would need a little bit more information as to is that feasible for us, you know? And that's another. Paige brings out another. Who's the grant writers for,
Well, we
for
have,
this?
we have a good, several grant writers here, don't we?
Right, but again, these opioid, correct me if I'm wrong, if I don't, but the money has been already allocated. It's done in an equitable way across Massachusetts, so all towns get
So
a
we've
portion
already- so we've
depending on
already established
other
we've got it?
factors that are.
Okay.
Okay.
So this
Sounds
money's
that way,
here,
right?
but there's, like you were right, and you, that there has to be appropriated and used based on these.
Guidelines.
God,
And that's what,
we
and
can't-
if, once we find what those are, then we can look at.
I think that
So,
we
you- so
don't-
the grant's already done and they've already allocated out the money, is that correct?
Yeah, we still
I
don't know
believe
how
the
much it
money's
is.
already, right, 35, 40,000?
Or so it's available if you so choose.
If you so choose, but you have to follow their guidelines, so
Right.
you just need to know what they are.
Right,
and what
right.
they do.
Gus, are you pretty sure it's around that 35 mark?
If I remember correctly, and it's.
Is that for the position, or what,
No,
that's
no,
just
it's-
for the
it's-
grant itself?
As I understand it, if I remember correctly, it's kind of complicated, convoluted.
Yeah,
As legal cases are.
I know.
But this is not a grant. This is legal settlement.
Yeah.
money.
Oh, this is
That's
just money
right.
that's being allocated
This is-
by the
this is
state.
being-
Right.
This is being paid out to all of the communities that the state's
yes,
supposed
you're
Okay,
correct,
so
you're
it's-
correct, you're correct,
That's
yeah,
right.
you're correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
based on
you're correct.
purchase
So
and
it's
service.
only a one-time shot then? So maybe.
Kind of like
yes.
COVID money
Yeah.
and, you
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
I don't know
everything
how
else.
long
Like a
they
food
last
money
you
thing,
five
same
years.
thing, yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
So those are some questions to ask.
yeah, so this is based on crisis
I'm not
intervention
entirely,
money.
I'm not entirely sure we've received it yet.
I know, that's the
Just
other
our
thing, yeah.
interest,
Yeah.
that's where I'm
Yeah.
starting here. If
Yeah.
the board members are interested in pursuing
I
this
know.
or whether not, and then we have
Yeah.
a separate
Makes sense to
department,
Yeah.
police or fire, use those funds for the
Yeah,
intent.
Yeah.
We're
Please
totally
support
interested.
that.
I say we're totally interested.
That'll be foolish something.
Yeah.
So what's the game plan, since we, the time of it, you know what I mean? I know we can email and,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you know what I
yeah.
mean, like, because we have to actually submit it.
No, I think it's already coming.
Coming.
If the money's already coming.
No, I know, but as far as we have to choose how we're going to use that money.
No.
Was the March 1st the ARPA funds,
Yeah,
Daniel?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
I'm sorry, I'm
Oh,
mixing it up, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's the ARPA funds, I'm sorry.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I got the March 1st in my head, that's why.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
okay, we gotta get that off the table.
Essentially continue this, table it for the next meeting.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
no,
because-
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
No, I was under the impression that that was the March 1st, that's why I didn't think we had the opportunity.
Right,
to
yeah,
do
so we had to hurry
So
up.
yeah,
and
yeah,
figure
we'll
it out.
absolutely
More
table that,
information,
yeah.
Daniel,
So that's
next
good,
time,
so
right?
then
There are enough
Do you,
meetings.
guys
do
have
you,
more
do you
time.
want me,
Absolutely,
do you
yeah.
want me to send what I have
Yes.
currently available?
Please do,
Yes.
Okay.
because then it would make maybe more sense to,
Yep, absolutely.
and if there is a
Yep,
timeline.
so we'll have some marinating time and,
Yeah,
you know,
or if
figure
there-
out.
If there's truly a timeline.
Yep,
If it's something that's even for us.
Yeah,
that's
well,
not-
yeah, more
maybe
importantly,
not
what's the
even right
timeline?
department, You know,
I know, who knows?
Is there a
That's what I'm
timeline?
saying.
Yeah.
Really,
With
no,
the
because
inspections and
if you
stuff.
were, if, in theory, if someone relied on Daniel to do this is out of my capacity.
But that's
Or-
what I'm saying, yeah.
Or
Mhm.
Emily, or, we don't have that.
right. Mhm.
all right, so we will table that. Anybody
Has
wanna,
any time.
anybody wanna make a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second.
Paige is getting really fast with that.
Oh, well, sometimes I'm waiting for someone to make a motion and I
Nice,
just do
good
it
key,
myself.
Paige.
Anthony Pastelli.
Yes.
Dan Grabowski.
Yes.
Paige Schitka.
Yes.
Nicole Duffy.
Yes.
Jasmine Canonis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Next meeting.
Okay, well, we're having a lot of things that are intertwining. The next agenda item is discussing ARPA, the funds project for the homeless shelter.
That would, and again, I would, that's an idea that I'd like to bring to the table. As you know, I am new here, but fundamentally looking at what would serve the town better. And this aspect certainly came to light is homelessness. And I recognize it is here in this community. Whether it is huge, I don't know
It
that,
is
but I have
huge,
heard
yeah.
from many people that it's there and there's a need to address it more, okay? How we get there, I think that's a concerted effort on all our part, but in recognition of this need, I just want to bring this to the board members and acknowledge that there are ARPA funds still remaining. Please, Counselor, if you could say, I understand there was a discussion on the ARPA funds just past Monday.
Yep.
A presentation
You
by
do have the
Abigail
answer,
and Counselor Adams,
Mhm.
okay? And there was a list, so and now I understand there's more money available.
We have, I'm trying to remember how much we have left. I want to say it's like $800,000.
How much?
I want to say it's something like $800,000.
800,000.
I wrote it down on Monday, but I forgot what the number was.
Okay.
Because I'm also on the ARPA committee.
Oh, okay.
This item was actually the one I came for. Because I wanted to hear what you guys were thinking about it, because do you have any idea of how much money you're looking at for that?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
This is-
Good to know,
Starting a
yeah.
homeless shelter is not a cheap effort.
Yeah.
Agreed,
Also to
but what
sustain it.
other,
That's the
again,
big issue.
in referral to particularly our board member Jasmine, who has more expertise on this matter, and maybe perhaps
Oh, I was
Paige,
more mental that way.
And then we also had the veterans shelter.
I'm good for your emergency
Uh,
preparedness.
what can be done, because again, I understand there's one homeless shelter here in town.
There is.
That has a certain
St.
capacity. I don't know what other kind of services are available to people that
Are living without homes,
and
sure.
and without a home. So this is again a starting point where if the board members feel that we can put our foot forward and at least address this with a homeless shelter or any other topic or point that we
Do
can
you
use.
have an idea of, are you thinking about any specific locations for it?
That-
Because there's plenty of vacant buildings.
I
Yeah.
understand.
I think that's even way before
beyond.
anything,
Yeah.
because when
Yeah.
you're talking about people living while at their home, right now, rent control, there's no rent control in this town.
Oh, it's a mess.
You know, so you're gonna find yourself in a category that people are living without homes, not necessarily because they're impoverished, you know, like they don't have to, they just, there's no rent control, so.
That's true.
You know, so not, the average family can't afford a 2-bedroom at $1,500-$1,600. You know, or moving forward,
Right.
so, you know, you have a lot of people that are living in their cars that are working unemployed, that, by the way, would not qualify to be in a homeless shelter. You know,
Yeah.
so, and then are you talking, okay, right now, there's women's shelters, there's family shelters, there's men-only shelters, you know, so, you know, this is a lot.
Yeah.
Bigger.
Maybe what we're talking about then is setting up a town fund where we can obtain properties at relatively cheap prices and rent them at good, reasonable rents, not $1,900 a month. And the town is the landlord. I know there have been in the past, we've thrown around the idea of, and I know some of the past councilors have said that they don't want the town to be a landlord. But at some point, the town needs to represent the taxpayers of the town and represent the needs in town.
Well, we're
One
in
of
a
them
different
is
place.
cheap
We're in a
rent.
different place on top of that at this
Very
point.
much.
Yeah.
And actually, this ties directly into that thing I told you about the other day.
Yes.
About this, there's one thing that we're talking about in GenGov, is the idea of a price as a price of necessities bylaw. It's something that came forward last week. Was a guy, actually an old lawyer from Worcester. He's like 88. He contacted me about this idea of an old law, state law that was repealed in 1978, that actually allowed you to go after the people who were jacking up the prices unfairly for the necessities of life.
Okay.
And it was vaguely defined in those things, and I think something like this could easily be included in that definition.
Yes and no, because then it attracts all kinds of populations, right? When people start hearing that we're doing this for our town, you're gonna now, you know, now we're gonna get a lot of people, and we're not gonna be able to help the people in our own town, because people are gonna be coming, I'm just throwing towns out there, from Springfield, Ludlow, Holyoke, you know, and coming, you know, because of this is finally a town that's taking precedence and making sure that life is stable for their residents.
And that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, yes and no, but because
I mean, you have to
sometimes,
be careful.
because yeah, you want to be careful, because, I mean, if we're helping our own, you know, but then when we can't help our own, but we're helping a lot of other people, you know, it causes a little disbalance, you know, so, I mean, I think it's one of those things I have to be very careful, and nobody cares about people living without homes more than I do. I've opened up 5 community refrigerators, cupboards, and everything else on their side, but I also know that you have to check very carefully on these matters. And,
So just getting back to the ARPA funds, so those are one and done, right? They're not gonna next year.
No.
Will
The way the law is set up is that we had a certain amount that we got, it was like around 5 million total originally. And we have to allocate them by, I want to say it's either June or December of '24, and we have to spend them by either June or December of '26.
Okay, so they're not like,
No, they're not
Okay.
recurring. As
So
far
then
as we
getting-
know, they're not going to be.
all right,
recurring.
so then
Yeah.
getting back to just the homelessness, why don't we look at some, like, where we already have a homeless shelter? I'm sure that they're in need at some level. 800,000 is not very much. If you're
No.
looking at across all the other disciplines and needs, why don't we look at like just even seeing if we have the ability to even supplement their homeless?
or you expand their
Or expand, or,
more beds, yeah.
but remember, it's just a one time.
Do you get vouchers for hotels
Right, that
or
type
in the
of-
winter when it's
right, right.
cold and there's
So even
no?
providing that for them, like,
Yeah.
that we would say, we would be giving you X amount of vouchers for hotels.
Yeah, when
So
it's
that, then
freezing
at least we
or-
have, then when that resource, when we need it,
That's-
or which we might need all that, but
That's
we
right.
at least are giving it to a place that's already getting managed the vouchers, and then it's a one and done, and when it's over, it's over.
Or housing
Because
voucher
start-
for the town,
Right.
you know, like
Nicole,
some
Dan?
towns have just Worcester only vouchers or, yeah.
We could
Go
do
ahead,
that.
Dan.
Gus, getting back to what you said earlier about the town not being a landlord,
Yeah.
is there any property that the town owns? I mean, as far as buildings
that would
that
be-
might be,
That would be like rental
instead of,
properties.
that, nothing, I'm not,
I think.
I know it costs money to convert, but
Well,
there-
the town has a whole bunch of properties in tax title. I don't know how many of them are in good enough condition to turn into rentals.
Just
I mean, that question is actually a question
Well, I know it
I say we
costs
change
money
this.
to do that, but I'm just saying, I mean,
It's a lot.
because you're
Well,
gonna have to renovate
The
anyway.
thing is, oh,
You know what the
talk
good
over
point
people.
about that though,
A
Dan,
lot of
is it
companies are
regenerates.
tiny vacant little
Yeah.
parcels.
And it
that
keeps
really
money
don't
going.
use the right thing.
I know.
But it's a good thing.
So again, the problem with this though is that we have the deadline of March 1st.
Oh, this is March
Well,
first?
This
that's
is
just
the March,
for
that's why I'm
next
saying.
This is the
round.
March 1st, and it was,
So the vouchers are nice, short and sweet.
That's just for the next
right,
meeting.
right, the next,
Yeah,
so,
food,
so,
hotel,
That's all.
whatever
to
that
have
means.
this
That's just for the, that's just for the March 8th meeting.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, phew, okay.
It's not like a one and done, you can build just.
Okay, all right, the way it was like sent, it looked like, it's like, we have to have, like, what's your idea, and you have to be sent, and it was like, oh my god, so that's why it's like, oh jeez.
That's just for the next meeting.
Okay, so
it's
that's,
just a request, it's
I
submitted
know,
for
I
a
know.
request on by March.
So you want us to send you
Like,
ideas?
the first Thursday.
Sure, if you want me to send
Yeah.
a request for, to use these funds to the
So-
town manager office,
So-
it would be by March 1st.
yeah, let me ask Gus that, so Gus, can you reiterate, can you expand a little bit on the whole March 1st thing, like, by
Well,
March
that just
1st?
means- that just
We need
means
what
we-
by,
We've said that, we're doing our next meeting for March 9th.
right,
And we meet monthly to go through any ideas. If we have had proposals that come forward,
right,
we'll vet them and throw them around and
Right.
get some, whoever's proposing will come on and give us a
Right.
bit of a presentation.
but after
on
that,
it.
it's like, if we have other ideas after that, it's kind of too late for that.
Oh,
This
no,
is-
no, not at all.
Oh, okay,
No,
perfect,
we've
okay,
we've
Okay.
had some places where we've had other ideas coming down the pike from multiple people.
okay, perfect,
That's
okay,
fine, as long as we have the money to do it.
right,
You know, and get, as I mentioned earlier, once we run out of money, we're done. You know, as I don't suspect we'll be getting any more. These are covered funds. And
Oh,
they were
okay.
approved under the ARPA law.
Sure,
that the federal
yeah.
government approved.
Mm-hmm.
There's been, I've heard some talk of somebody trying to do something similar again, but whether it goes anywhere, who knows?
Well, I can tell you that I'm opening up a respite.
Okay.
And
Cool.
so it's going to be a mental health respite that requires no health insurance. Referrals are gonna be based on hospitals. You can even self-register, self-refer yourself. And it's gonna be a free cost. One of them is that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reserve 1 or 2 bedrooms for individuals, adults who are living without homes, to then be able to connect them with additional services. I'm still looking at what the funding through the Department of Mental Health and other agencies looks like for that. But I can tell you that, it's just a composition of, when people are living without a home, sometimes it's a bigger picture than that.
Oh, sure.
Just, people are just struggling in a lot of different ways. So, I think a lot of people are trying to do things of this nature. It's just the liabilities can be a lot, so it's just so much that goes into it.
well, I'm just happy the fact that we have time, it's like I said in my
Yeah,
mind,
yeah,
that we
me
thought,
too. And I'm gonna drop some.
it looked like that was it,
Some ideas. I'll
Well,
send
absolutely.
them
If
to
you have, if
Dan.
you
Yeah,
have some good ideas, send them forward.
yeah.
okay,
Mhm.
I mean, that's one of the things that we've actually been talking about, both with ARPA and the council as a whole, is trying to do more stuff that are more social service related.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've got years and years of like big ticket projects.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We
Yep.
haven't
There you
done a
go.
lot in
Yeah.
terms of social.
I like that a
services.
lot.
yeah. Well, and
Mhm.
again, we're in a different place right now,
Oh,
you know what I
yeah.
mean, so, and I gotta say, I like the idea, about the, again, kind of, when we get in that situation where, someone needs a hotel, like,
Right, remember we
the
had- we've
situation,
had that before.
exactly. The
At least we have some
the
recourse.
whole hoarding
That would be
situation that
good.
we got into, we
I
got
think
stuck with
that's
that.
a
It's
great
like,
idea.
we had no funds, nowhere to go with that, and it's like, and you know what, and I suspect that's gonna happen pretty frequently in the
Yeah. Oh,
future,
yeah.
I mean, the way
Especially
things are
with
going.
climate change and stuff, disasters and things, stuff like that.
Yep,
And
exactly,
unfortunately,
exactly.
how many situations have we had? I don't know if you guys.
Well,
have
we
this.
just had that, but the thing is that one of the main factors was that their pipes froze,
Oh, yeah.
and they couldn't afford to fix it, so it's like, with electric going up, with all,
Oh, yeah.
all the
Oh, yeah.
fuel and everything going up, it's like how,
Yeah, how do you-
that's very likely, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
that
for
something's
delivery,
gonna
yeah.
happen, and they're not gonna be able to afford to pay that,
Oh, yeah.
you know, so. And again, it's like if someone doesn't fit in a neat box, like if they're not elderly, if they're not, disabled, they're in the middle, there's nothing for you, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
we're, again, in the climate that we're in right now, we're gonna come across a lot. Maureen?
I just wanted to clarify, it seemed like Jasmine said that the rule of necessity or the law of necessity would only be for Southbridge. It used to be a state law, so it's for all towns if we were to get it passed, because
Oh, it's for-
Governor Dukakis did.
It's what-
That would be our bylaw.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but if it could go in other towns, it's not just for Southbridge. It
Oh,
could be
right,
for
right.
other towns, because I thought you said, like, it would only be, I mean, everybody can be victim of price gouging and.
Oh, no, we know that,
and I
but
think that's bad.
if we're allocating things for our town, I mean, we have to take into consideration the people that are living without homes in our town for right now.
Right.
Now,
Right.
each town has
No,
to
I
worry.
just wanted to clarify, because you
And I
said,
wanna-
oh, that's only Southbridge.
No, and I want to clear. Trust me when I tell you, I work
Okay.
side by side with this population very, very
Okay.
closely,
Okay,
and I
and I
have.
think it's great that you're doing a respite, because
so-
I worked at the respite house.
But you know, if
A while
the
ago.
money is allocated for Southbridge, I want to make sure that we're helping the people that have been waiting years and years in Southbridge to be able to get the support that they need, because they're standing in front of Cumberland
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sidewalks and
Yeah.
everywhere else.
That's one thing that we're definitely doing as far as our funds.
Yeah,
Is that we're making sure that they're being used for Southbridge.
yeah, that's great, absolutely. No, so I think that's great. So again, I'm happy that we don't have such the hurry up, we have to get that in there. So yes, I guess homework for everybody is,
Yeah.
you know what, let it marinate, think of some ideas, submit
We've
it.
done a lot of
Just
marinating
the
today.
sooner you
Well,
get
it was
into
good
it,
marination.
Or pickles, like.
Can I make a point? And just a discussion point is, what I understand is the Board of Health / Health Department / Inspectional Services has not received any type of ARPA funds for a particular project or endeavor. Am I correct to say that?
As far as I know, I'm not sure. Emerita? I'm sorry.
Because I saw, again, in reference to Monday where I saw the list quickly, and there was
I
a
don't know if
lot
you have any
of
knowledge.
very
if
good stuff, but it
we've
just.
gotten any money from the ARPA.
There's not.
Dana, can you direct that question to Maritza? I don't know if you knew the answer
Well,
to that.
and I think I did ask you this, Walter, but I'll ask again. Were any ARPA funds ever given to the Health Department / Inspectional Services
Not
for
that I'm
any
aware
kind
of.
of?
Not to the
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, no, I wasn't, no, okay.
Okay.
No, we did some for a couple of social services like the Bridge, we did some to the Y, we did some to,
United Way.
United Way, for those kinds of services outside the town. But if you have something specific,
Yeah,
you're one of the few departments that hasn't come to us yet, so.
I'm just curious, anyone that has come so far with their ideas, are there any, like, top three or something that, would be in relation to kind of, in the,
Kind of along the lines of what you're talking about.
yeah, I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, one of the ones that we most recently approved was internet service.
Okay.
We're doing trying to do a broadband, a townwide broadband study, which could indirectly kind of affect some of the people that we're talking about.
Okay.
There's nothing, we haven't done anything specifically that's health related, and we've got a lot of little organizations that have come forward to do things like the softball league came in, we give them some money. And I mentioned the organizations a few minutes ago. And some of those other similar kinds of things, but nothing quite along the lines of what you're talking
Okay.
about.
Okay.
So that'd be good for us to, we have a strong case.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it seems like it's pretty wide, actually, like, we can,
Do we have an idea how many homeless people there actually are in town?
I can give you those statistics. There's a
There's quite a few.
lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. And there used to be one camp. Now we're up to 4 camps.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
yeah.
Because I know occasionally I run into
Yeah.
what
They're
will clearly
growing.
look like camps, various places. in
And
the
see
woods.
now it's not just people living without a home either. It's like nomadic people who are choosing to live without homes. I mean, there's a whole category now of just so much. Yeah.
Is it, here's one thing that sometimes I think about is, would it be worth the idea of repealing our no camping bylaws?
Say that again, I'm
Do you
sorry.
remember the whole camping bylaw issue that came out maybe 10 years ago?
No,
You
I
need longer
don't.
than that. Do you
No.
remember the big furor that happened over the family?
Hold on,
I think it was
hold
the
on.
Wright
The Wrights
family.
family.
Yes, the Wrights.
Oh, in the
They were
van?
parking on,
Yeah.
yes, they were parking on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And they raised, they got, and some people got so upset about it that they put into our bylaws a no camping bylaw. Specifically to get rid of them.
Yeah, in this economy, that, I don't know if that could fly. I think I know more people living in their cars than I know people living in a home. Yeah, so,
Again, we're in a whole different climate at this
Yeah.
point,
Oh,
you
totally,
know.
it's a huge mess.
And still, not that they were in the right in the first place, it's just, especially now, we're in a whole different place.
yeah.
And they
So I
weren't
wonder-
camping either, so,
No, they were living
I
there.
mean, it was,
Living there.
Yeah, they were living there probably,
I mean,
yeah.
that's just how they got it out, and,
Yeah,
you know, it's ridiculous. I mean, the person who told me about it was like, because I had told him how I had camped out in my backyard, you know, put up a tent, and he goes, you know, you can't do that in
Technically, you
Southbridge.
can't, yeah.
And I was like, what?
oh, jeez, okay,
And, yeah, so.
okay, no, that's good to know
it
though.
should be reviewed.
All right, well, I think, yeah, so that's our homework, so we can all think of some great ideas, and what's the easiest to email you, or who we email these ideas to?
They can be either to me, and I would just forward it to the town manager.
Okay.
With ARPA, it is Hannah from the town manager's office that sends this. She would be the main contact. So,
Hannah? Okay.
Yeah, send it directly to her.
So we can send it to you or Hannah, is that right?
Yeah, either or. And we'll move
Yeah, but I'm
forward
glad you
with this
brought
as
that up,
the
'cause
board sees fit. And attend that meeting if necessary. The next ARPA meeting is the 9th?
Yeah.
March 9th.
March 9th, okay.
Yeah. See, I'm.
We usually
And
get
again, even though it's March 9th, put the date as, they need it.
Planning board?
Hannah or Daniel will need to receive that, before March 1st, actually, because they're gonna submit that March 1st, just to make note of that. And that's the ARPA.
Do you guys want to go to write something on it?
No.
Oh, you're not?
Oh, I'm written out for the night.
No, I mean, in regards to by the first.
I am going to, yeah,
You
I'm
are
gonna,
going to.
I'm gonna write a couple of ideas that I think would,
Okay.
with what I know, with work and, you know, things that this town really could
Perfect, okay,
use.
good.
Yeah, then just.
And the voucher thing you like?
See, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
Okay,
why-
as long as they're in, that's just one.
That's why it's a
Yeah.
good thing, because as the week goes on, things
Yeah.
come up and.
Yeah.
Thank you, as if you were having.
Just like something really, I mean, we can collaborate on it
No,
too.
I've totally heard this is your purview, you do it.
Yeah, so, you know,
I'm
and I'm
very
just,
comfortable with your
I'm just doing like a really, you know, like
Oh.
a couple jots, you know, and saying, you know, we would like,
Thank you.
the Board of Health would like to see these, you know,
Okay.
allocated in this way, you know, vouchers for blah, blah, blah,
Thank you.
because of something like that. That's
Thank you.
all very simple.
Mhm.
If that's okay with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony's like, yeah. Okay, have you hello.
Yeah, man, hello.
I'll do it.
Alrighty, agenda item number 12, health director's announcement.
I don't have anything new. I'd just like to thank all the board members for a healthy
We've spoken
discussion.
a lot.
And great
Yeah.
participation. And
Yep.
please understand, it's not personal
Yeah,
by any
business.
means. But we got to the point where we wanted to be. So, yeah, there's nothing new to discuss from
Okay, thank you. And I don't have anything to announce. I think my big thing was the library, as far as like how that went, and I'm gonna look into that. Thank you, Gus, for letting us know that that it wasn't televised. Oh, geez, yeah. So I'll take a look at that. And that's all I have. Board members, Paige, you have anything?
No.
Dan?
nothing.
Don't?
My apologies again for my outlash to Dan.
No.
You know,
No.
you're right. It wasn't personal. I just
Well, you're
I
passionate.
spoke
There's a lot.
my mind.
Yeah.
You know,
It's all right. It's a healthy thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so no apology necessary.
Well,
But thank
it's
you.
it's not the way I usually act, but
Well,
thank you.
I enjoy your
I think it was
passion.
a joint thing. Both things were
Yeah.
said.
I
both
enjoy your
ends, so, you
passion.
know.
Yeah. All right. That's it. Thank you.
Alrighty. Okay, so we're gonna schedule next meeting, second Thursday.
Just in time.
Let's see. And that falls on,
The 9th, right?
Night.
oh, actually, I do have one more announcement. I'm so sorry. Martha, can you just make note of that? Sorry. No, just really quick, the library is having a COVID clinic actually on March 9th. So just to kind of put that out there, because I'm looking at the dates to schedule them, and that's the library, the clinic. Let's take a look. Do we want to keep it on March 9th for Thursday, or is it better for March 16th for people?
I was gonna say March 16th is actually better for me, but,
Is everyone else, is that okay?
I'll be in Washington.
You'll be in Washington, okay.
Good for you.
Joey's turning 21. We're taking him to Washington. I
that's
got
awesome.
a kid who's 21. Holy
That's
cow.
awesome.
Wow, fantastic.
Okay.
And then one who's 12.
I got a kid
February-
who's
March
23
9th, March
and
16th.
one that's 16. so-
You're right there with me.
Jasmine, would you be able to do the 9th if we could, just to get him in here? And
Probably not, I'm actually having surgery on
Oh, my
the
goodness,
24th,
okay.
so.
Oh, boy.
But either way, on the 8th, we have, our meeting at my office.
Okay,
Don't worry. Keep it to 6.
Okay.
I think it's
we'll do the 16th.
Jasmine adds more.
Just stop
with,
it, no.
with- no, with what? No, seriously. With what you're doing with all this, I think your
I mean,
opinion is
even the
much
23rd.
better.
That's
I mean,
fine.
if you
No.
wanted to go down that way, gives enough time to everybody to get back.
Do we want to do the 23rd or the 16th?
I can do all three, so whatever is best, I just have to coordinate.
I mean, by
my
that
schedule.
point, we've gotten a lot of information
Yeah,
back.
is that okay if everybody's 23rd?
Listen, if that's
Can you
that's
do
what
it?
you want to
Yeah,
do.
okay.
The 23rd?
23rd, won't we do that,
Okay.
yeah. I don't want to exclude anybody if, I don't want to. 6 PM, 23rd?
Yep.
Okay. Good. All right, make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Later, Gators.
You do it.
Second.
No, Paige, you're on a roll.
I'll second it.
Hold on, she's gonna make a roll call, people.
Dave Grabowski?
Yes.
Anthony Pascali?
Yes.
Nicole Duffy?
Yes.
Jasmine Pinellas?
Yes.
Yes,
Paige Schiffel? Yes.
yes, thank you.